Mary Ann Lynch took off at 7:45 a.m., flew 2,949 miles, made 3 stops. And most of the trip still lies ahead. Now there are schedules to check, flight reports to make, a quick supper with friends before turning in. Next morning, on the go again at 6:15. Then St. Louis, Cincinnati, finally New York. Glamour job, Mary Ann has made dozens of runs like this, served hundreds of hot meals, greeted thousands of new people. It all demands a lot of charm and works out to a lot of Coke. Does Coca-Cola have the taste you never get tired of? Do we mean it when we say Coke is always refreshing? Is things go better with Coke after Coke after Coke just a slogan? Right, Miss Mary Ann Lynch, Trans World Airlines, Box 7144, St. Louis, Missouri. She'll tell you.
Coca-Cola has the taste you never get tired of. Always refreshing. That's why things go better with Coke after Coke after Coke.
In the dull and commonplace occurrences of day-to-day living, one thing stands out as a completely unique experience. Colt 45 malt liquor. In the dull and commonplace occurrences of day-to-day living, one thing stands out as a completely unique experience. Colt 45 malt liquor.
Welcome everybody to another edition of Hop Program. I am your host with the most, all the way from the East Coast, and I am joined by a man who, if he was a rapper, his name would be Rick
Christian rapper.
Cross, a Christian rapper, a man who needs no introduction. How's it going? The boss, the boss, you know, that rolling with that Maybach music, you know, pulling up to the church with the Maybach music on him. How you doing, my one black friend?
That would be so unholy of me.
Listen,
I'll put it on the list.
We need.
I am doing well.
Pusher,
Pocket
though.
Locker, good to see.
Look, CULT, right? Cult Malt Liquor. Come on, that's a good one. Cult Malt Liquor. You like that? I think that's good. Cult Malt Liquor. We gotta get us. What do you need? Like you need a license to make liquor, don't you?
You would need a. You would have to, if it's literally malt liquor. You would have to get them to allow you to use the name Cult Malt Liquor because it is so close to Colt Malt Liquor.
Really?
So,
I couldn't
hello,
just be like,
James,
I couldn't just be
everyone,
like,
and hello, Cameron.
Couldn't just be like fair use.
You would have trademark
product.
trouble.
I'd have trademark trouble.
Trademark, maybe even service mark logo, service mark trouble.
Now,
Sorry, folks, I'm distracted because my Dexcom has been ripped off by my carelessness.
Now, given that putting all our channels together, my channel, your channel, Hot Program, we probably got about maybe 500 subs. You think it's worth it just for the subs? You know, is the lawsuit trouble? Is it worth it? Should we do it for the clicks?
I think our supporters would want us to stay out of legal trouble.
Okay, they might want
I think
to
that's a good idea.
Maintain our ability to go live instead. Okay.
Yeah, the Hot Program Defense Fund. We don't have the support that Trump does. It would be bad.
Oh man! All right, so
although in California, I think I get to keep my house.
Oh, that's
although
good.
I want to sell it. So it depends.
Yeah,
on
I guess
timing.
you got to go somewhere where the grift is strong and there are strong grift protections in place.
Now, I want to talk about this.
Sure.
Forgive me,
No, it's fine.
and I'd like to take the opinions of our audience as well. So, I watched a little more Pine Creek, and he was talking about making shorts, and I've actually seen a few of his shorts. I think his daughter is helping him with that. And I said, you know, I see so many clips of Christian people on Facebook, on YouTube, getting it wrong. Maybe I should make some YouTube shorts where I'm correcting them. A series that occurred to me would be useful is how to answer tough questions from non-believers. And give a real answer, right? Not merely a dodge that's meant to be cheeky or funny, but the real answers. And try to keep it under 1 minute. Actually, try to keep it under 40 seconds.
So you get so you lay out the question, and then the Christian is supposed to answer that question as sincerely as they can, or it's the reverse.
This is inspired by a single video. It said, do this idea. So there's a video where a young college woman criticizes Todd Friel as Todd Friel is on a stage street preaching, and she confronts him about how his behavior isn't exhibiting one that's much like Jesus, feeding the homeless, taking care of the sick, looking out for the fatherless, that sort of thing. She's criticizing him, like, you're not teaching us that, like Jesus would do, and why haven't you given your money away to help other people? And Friel talks about Christian charity, how Christians have started hospitals, which is true. Christians have started outreach programs, which is true. Drug treatment programs, which is true. And he goes on and on. He didn't say, well, I did these things. So he answered the question, but he got out of any responsibility for making the world a better place in his answer. Like, he's not obligated to do it. And I thought, you know, there's a business idea in there somewhere. Here's how to do it. Here's how to answer those questions, but utterly have no responsibility for them. A guy that I've known since kindergarten. I got to show you his picture when he was like 5 years old. he is one of these posters on Facebook that just reposts things that he thinks are funny without actually checking to see if they're true, without actually checking to see if he's making a valid point, and therefore continually embarrasses himself.
Sure.
And one of his most recent posts was like a criticism of the people in Martha's Vineyard when those immigrants got dropped off. I'm like, you don't even, sorry, Dexcom, you don't even know what happened. You know, his criticism was, oh, they must have rejected those people, stinking liberals. Well, and I'm like, that's not what occurred. So I put links to news stories where he won't look, I don't think, where his readers, where his fans, I guess, could go and say, oh, wait, it looks like this guy from kindergarten is wrong. So I think maybe 1 in 10 will actually go there and look, because what I've found is a lot of apathy. People don't care. I was told this by a friend of mine who got her PhD. Her thesis was about, she did a research project, and it was about how, she focused on Christianity. She found the largest number of, I'm not phrasing this well. Most people she surveyed did not care if Christianity was true.
They don't. Now, when you ask a normal person a serious ass question like that, hey, this Christian blah 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 say flavonoids, do you care if it's true? Does it matter to you if it's true? I asked my mother, and she said, man, I forget what she said, but it was like the most craziest thing I ever heard out of her mouth, because it was basically like, well, that's interesting. Well, you know, and then it was like a whole him hawing song dance. It was not the yes. No, it was, I think it was the first time she had to hear herself get out of that question. And I just let it there, right? I wasn't, you have them moments, and you gotta just, I know people in the atheist community, they don't dig it, because they used to debate me, bro, debates, right? So a person hears something or say something, and they go, and that's when you jump on them and you tell them, I
gotta pounce on that.
Yeah, that's when you go, and you talk about the next thing. You let them off of that. You know, the pebbles in the shoe, let it go. But I think a lot of the tonality of our conversations greatly shifted after that. Mm-hmm. And so I do think that's a good one, because we're so used to the people who, I don't know, there's so many thoughts here, right? So that could be a good one. The questions for atheists, some of it could just be factual stuff. It could just be getting like the average, sort of Christian to say, who do they think wrote the Gospels? What order do they think the Gospels were written in? Do we have any firsthand eyewitnesses to resurrected Jesus? And then counterbalance that with just like some people who are just the straight, and just present this contrast between here's what they think is commonplace knowledge that everybody knows, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, right? And then here's what everybody knows: Mark, Matthew, Luke, John, right? See what I'm saying? It's almost that Bart Ehrman thing. How many books are there in the New Testament? And you got a classroom full of Christians at North Carolina, and there's deer in the headlights. You know me going to Catholic school, I was like 27 and keep it moving. I was like, oh, are we talking about, you want to talk, now what kind of book do you want to go in the Old Testament? Are we talking with or without the Apocrypha? You know what I'm saying? That's how a lot of us are. Now, they're like, what? There's a number of books in the Bible. How are you supposed to do it? But you're a person in one book.
Yeah, the Bible doesn't have anything to do with Tupac. What do you mean, Tupocrypha? Nobody knows what that is. That's not even a thing. I think I was thinking earlier this week, and it kind of made me sad of how easily manipulated the mind is. And then last night while working, I was listening to Aaron Ra interview someone, and it's a shame I don't remember the guy's name. He spoke rather brilliantly about this, about how malleable the human mind is, how easily it accepts things. Now, I think human beings are probably that way because when we're born, we're helpless. And while we're very young, while we're very young, we're helpless. So as a result of that, we have to follow, the wiser beings. We have to do what we're told. At a certain point, if a person doesn't fork off and begin to think critically on their own for many of their decisions, they stay there. I don't want to say get stuck, because some people keep a very regimented life, and I wish my life was more regimented in terms of my weight and exercise and stuff like that. They keep a very regimented life, and they have a really fantastic life because they stay
in the safe zone. He might have to refresh. I think he froze on us. But yeah, YouTube Punk said that it's almost like they're saying, well, we're past that point. They are, many of them. I think this is a really important topic, almost on its own, the whole does it matter if it's true. But yeah, sorry, you rejoined us. It was just a froze for a second. You're back.
Okay. I guess that's really my point. And I'm not telling anyone to fork off, James. By the way, I have a story. Unrelated to
Thanks, Carrie.
our topic,
Welcome.
but related to what James says. So I have a friend who's from Africa, very thick African accent. And when he came to the United States, he got a job and he worked with really great people, and they took him to lunch. And of course, there was all these place settings, but he didn't get one. And so he said to one of his coworkers, "Can you please pass me that fucking knife?"
That's awesome.
Ah, yes.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Mama Africa.
Yeah, good.
Go ahead, Jay.
No, I was just gonna say, I think too, people talk about I don't know. I have a hard time having content, creating conversation. People don't create content, but it's there's lots of different reasons, different types of things work, and for a community like ours, we're really trying to be as multifaceted as possible, right? So there's a difference between what sort of works for your viewers, works for your subs, versus what helps you get viewers and subs. So there's discoverability versus watchability. If somebody shows me YouTube shorts that are like addressing quick things, it doesn't have a lot of watchability for me when I'm sitting through my workday, because I don't want to watch something that's a minute long, and then something else that's 5 minutes long, and then something else that's 3 minutes long, and then something, because I'm doing this, I'm searching every 2 minutes. I'm like, somebody need to be doing something for like 3 or 4 hours so I could bust down this work for the day, you know what I mean? And maybe have to only change the channel twice, right? But at the same time, like, that's not gonna help you get from 65 subs to 1,000 or whatever. So I think the thing you're talking about has a huge, ability to bring people in, because it's short, it's consumable. Hi, I'm a one black friend. It's doing something fun. People are looking forward to the next one. They're sharing it. It's very shareable. Quick link. Everybody watch a minute. You get a playlist of them. And then we drop the playlist in the description, so you can go find the playlist, and then you can promote your channel. Hot program. Say I host Hot program with Pocket Locker, and here's Pocket Locker's channel, and boom, and then it's easy. Yeah.
You can always have top billing. You can always have top billing.
I don't need that. But yeah, let me know too, because I have like Tux's link in my description. I need to actually add James and the channel Lena's been working on, but then also let me know your channel, because then I have them I have a template for my description, and they're all kind of down there. So.
Yeah, James Apperson has been broadcasting a lot
every day.
I'm impressed, and I think pretty soon we're going to have to call it the James Apperson Network.
Yeah,
over there.
I don't know
with all the programming he has.
I don't know where he got that type of terribly bad habit of streaming all day every day, and it throws your whole life out of balance. I feel like I don't know if am I proud of him. Am I ruining people's lives and setting bad habits? It's like you know, James, eat and sleep and don't be like me. Be like me, but don't be like me, James.
Well, maybe Pocket Locker, it's like when I went to the foot doctor and he gave me orthotics. He asked me, how does it feel? I said, it feels strange to walk in these. And he goes, because it's right.
Yeah.
And maybe that's why it feels strange. You've been doing the wrong thing for so long.
Yeah.
I'm just going to shut this phone off. You're doing the wrong thing for so long that when you're finally doing things in a way that's more conducive to your goals or fulfillment, which is the ultimate goal.
Yes.
It can feel a bit strange. Like I'm about to go through the purge. Like I have a bunch of stuff to do today, so I can't start throwing more things out or giving more things away or selling more things. And I might be going out of town for another contract, but when I get back, this stuff can go.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So I'd say for you, if this is working for you, then it works.
Oh, it works. Yeah. No, there's no doubt. We're doing, and you know, we do something very different. And also, it's like what you know, you're trying to build something, and so I always say there's like a exchange program that happens the way me and my advisors see it. We go out there, we do science stuff, we make sure we get multimedia funding for it. That puts money in the lab, and that brings me up as a science and multimedia expert, and then in turn we help other people become content creators and use that, like, you know, helping, you know, me and you start a show, and Tux is doing stuff, and you know, Lena's out here and James is out here. So that's the plan, right? It's they help me start my channel and I help everybody else start theirs. And so that's actually sort of the goal, right? Because now I can go, well, you know, I help James, and now James is out there every day. So for me, that's like a immediate win, you know, because it's not like, oh, I helped somebody, they made a video of a lesson for their 3rd grade class, and I never heard from them again. It's like, nope, you can go to James. James might be live right now if you check him out. Yeah, go over there, tell him Pocket sent you. You know, but so it's actually awesome. And then it does create the network where, like, you know, I keep the casino live overnight, and now a lot of times, you know, the earlier part of the morning or the earlier part of the afternoon, people sort of are leaving the casino to go watch James, right? And so we're sort of creating that vibe we've wanted, where they're on Pocket Locker a lot, James is over here, then they're at the casino hanging out overnight while everybody is sleeping, and then, you know, they get up and, all right, James is live again, all right, cool. It's like so you know, we're getting to that place where our community, our friends always have somewhere to gather and congregate. And then what you're talking about is a great way to bring in new people. You know, go down, put some flyers out throughout town. Hey, there's a new congregation. Come join us. We're having fun. And
y'all gather around.
Yeah, and then also I think to promote your channel, and that helps us. Like I said, you can log in here. So I'll get you hooked up with the some of the restream stuff or whatever, and you can always, you know, go live on Hot Program too if you want. But yeah, I think this is a great idea. I think people will be really into it. I know people definitely want you to do more content, and it's also great because you're super busy, right? Yeah. And you travel a lot, and so you want something that fits into that, something that you could knock out if you're at the hotel, or, you know, got a few minutes here and there. It's not, you know, that you don't want to commit to something. I've got to sit down for 4 hours and edit a video that's going to take me a week. You know, you want something that's going to fit into and be fun for you to do, rather than stressful and difficult. Yeah.
Got to be able to do it in, as they say in Hollywood, in one take, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't want to spend 4 hours doing. There aren't a lot of things I'd rather spend 4 hours doing. You know, not anymore. Right. Maybe when I was younger and had less on my mind.
Sure.
No.
Yeah.
I need to clean up my pine needles in my yard and throw them out. You know, I need to do stuff like that, and it takes 4 hours. But whatever.
Yeah, YouTube punk, that's the point. We're supposed to give you that fear of missing out on something. Yeah, yeah. You know, we save a lot of our best stuff, right? Like, you know, sometimes it might be like 1 o'clock in the morning and people, all right, I'm going to go to bed. I've been with y'all for 8 hours. It's 1 o'clock. I got to get up tomorrow morning, go to work, and we'll go to casino and we'll just have the best stuff. That's when the best games come out, the best videos. And we're like, yeah, if you went to bed at 1 o'clock in the morning, you done messed up tonight. Cause from 1:30 to 4 or 5 a.m., oh, we throwing down. We going hard. We're all the stuff you wanted to see, all the fun stuff you don't get. And that's what you want, because you want the people who are in America keeping the same hours we do, and then they've got to dip out to feel like they missed something, right? Because the international crowd, the overnight crew, they always feel like they missing stuff. Everybody go live in the middle of the day. Everybody goes live in the early part of the evening. They're busy, they're at work or whatever. By the time they get to YouTube, everybody else going to bed. So they're always watching everything on replay. You know, it's watching everything on replay and leaving stuff in the comment section because they'll never catch the stream live and get to be in the live chat. You see what I'm saying? So now you flip it. Well, if you want to see what's going on at the casino, the people that live in Europe and work the third shift and just be starting their day when it's 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning here, they're the people holding it down till, you know what I mean? And so then now the people that get up on my schedule, like YouTube post said, now y'all done missed something. Now y'all got to go see what we did last night at the casino. And then I do really crazy stuff. Like there was a tournament we were watching and one of the guys that was playing, he got to a big match. He got excited. He took his shirt off, you know, and he sat there. And I was like, that's it, I'm taking my shirt off. So I sat and took my shirt off. I sat there. It's 5:30 in the morning. My friend, and I'm sitting there, we're calling this tournament, so I go away, I go to bed and whatever, and the guy, another guy ends up, they end up getting to the finals, and the big thing in a fighting game tournament is when there's a reset, because that means the guy coming out of loser's bracket wins the first match of the grand finals, and so now that puts the other guy in loser's bracket, and now it's 1 set to a finish. 1 set, winner's gonna be the champion, and it's called a reset, it's a big deal. So I came back. I don't remember what time it was. Maybe it was 7, it was 8 o'clock. Like, it was a crazy hour, right? So I had just gone away. I'd gone to bed. I'd been gone for maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours. And then I come back in the middle of the night. It's like 2 or 3 people watching, like Joel, Carrie Ann, maybe one other person. Nerdy was around that night, maybe something, right? And I came back, I did the reset, and I took my shirt off, and I did the whole thing, right? Because now they're the crowd that, y'all ain't never seen Jay take his shirt off on Pocket Locker?
Yeah, don't do it here.
Yeah, exactly, right. You ain't never seen Jay, right? You ain't never seen Jay shirtless on Hot Program? Oh, I guess you had to be there, right? You see what I'm saying? It's like sometimes I'm gonna just pull something. I'm gonna just show up at 9 o'clock in the morning because I couldn't sleep, and I'm gonna just sit there for another half hour, smoke weed, and get into something random and crazy. It's gonna be the wildest part of the entire day. It's gonna be 2 or 3 people watching, and I guess you had to be there. But to the point, right? That's how seriously we take being 24/7 and giving everybody something and not letting anybody feel like they're the second team players, right? You see what I'm saying? It's a commitment to it, for real.
If you're not there, you can always watch the recording.
You can always watch the recording.
And just for Carrie Ann, this is why one of the reasons I like having an audience is to share vignettes from my life.
Yes.
Carrie Ann has written Skins. Carrie Ann, as a child, I've had a lot of medical issues, and around 11, I developed man boobs. I was one of the best basketball players in my neighborhood. I would get chosen either first or second pick to play with 16 and 17-year-old kids at 9, at 10, at 11. When the man boobs came, if I got put on a Skins team, I was out.
It. Really?
I was out.
That's out. Yeah.
Total coward. Total coward.
So I had just a hormone thing when I was going through puberty.
I think mine was a hormone thing too.
Yeah, and I had I had like one of my like it was like around the nipple. It was like much, it was like uncomfortable. I was like, oh, this is the.
Wait, you were lopsided?
Yeah, it was lopsided. It was weird. Oh. Yeah, and it just kind of went away on its own. It was just like a, You know, look, I'm telling y'all, we wasn't designed, y'all. So the genes, they kind of get where they need to go in the end, sometimes, mostly.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? Along the way, some interesting things happen. You know what I mean? It's like that tail you had a tail at one point. You know, you acting now like you straight because you don't have it no more, but you did in fact have it. And some people just keep theirs, right? Some people literally, it don't go away and they're born with it or a little nubule. There's people walking around with little tails.
Yeah, if the Christian God is to be believed, he's at best a C student and invented all these drugs so he could use them. So this is just my opinion. I don't know it to be fact. It just seems that way. But yeah, not the best designer by any stretch of the actually by the stretch of a lot of imaginations, he is the best designer. I guess I can't say that. That would not be true.
So, all right. So let's talk about the topic today, which is I think an interesting one and kind of ties in all this. And so I titled it Christian Commerce Club, and you know, there's a lot of directions you could go with a title like that, but the real one is supposed to be this idea of, you know, shifting the emphasis to the pews. You know, really thinking about how it's the pew fillers. I say we got to make it more uncomfortable to sit in the pews, right? Because it's the people who are sitting in the pews, giving their tithes and their offerings, you know, that are really funding the empire. And if you do the numbers game, you know, the pyramid is what's broader at the base, right? And so the Christian Commerce Club is something I'd love to hear you talk about and the chat talk about. And if anybody wants to call in, James or Scott, Duke, anybody else, that's a call-in type of person. But the idea is, and you've all heard your mom and grandma say it, oh, we took our car to Larry's because, you know, Larry's mom goes to my church and, you know, we love to, you know, help support our church family. And, yeah, you know, I get my hair done. You know, oh, it's the nice lady goes to my church. You know, she gives us the family and friends discount. So, you know, I go there and, you know, every time I want to travel, you know, that other lady and my homegirl from the choir is a travel agent, y'all. You know, I'm getting a hookup on my spring break. Yes. You know, and when you really take this to this logical conclusion, what they want is a world in which the rest of us don't really participate in the economy.
I can't agree.
I'm not saying, but look, I'm telling you, for some people, here's a couple things. Some people I really think, look, if they could get everything in their life met by shopping and keeping it all in their church family, I think they would. I mean, I know some people who I would definitely take it that far. You know why? Because they would take it that far. There's no doubt in my mind that if they could make, because like you said, they only have so many needs. They go to church, they got a pharmacist, they may take their car to the dealer once in a while. They got to, like, you see what I'm saying? They don't have 30 places they go regularly in their life. They might have 7, okay? And if 6 of them is friends from church, that's how they like it, right? Like, once they have a Christian grocer, pharmacist, florist, and auto mechanic, and somebody to come fix their house, all needs, and again, I don't actually think it's a bad thing, right? I thought about it. If I could go, you know, to Logan Fisher's coffee shop and Carrie Ann's grocery store and, you know, YouTube Punk's video game shop and, you know, AR owns the Guitar Center and my one black friend, you know, owns the Home Depot, great. I would love that. That's not a problem, right? But I think it does become a problem when it's exclusionary, because the difference is, the way I see it, if I did that, I'm doing it because these are my friends and family. And when I go to places and I get the friends and family discount, I'm getting it because we're friends and family. I'm saying my one black friend is my friend. I give him 10% off. I give AR 10% off. It's good to see you. And they get friends and family discount because they're friends and family. But everybody could participate in that. You could be a Christian and be friends and family and get the friends and family discount. You know what I'm saying? You could be atheist and get the friends and family, or a Muslim, it don't matter. But if you're only going to do it with people who go to your church, and you only go to a Christian church, you only associate with Christians, to me, and it's a lot of what we're talking about, like when they really create this theocratic world, because we've been really diving into Sal and people like that, and they've been like, yeah, and everybody was supposed to practice Christian forbearance and Christian accounting and Christian walking through the streets, and you were supposed to put little Jesus crosses in the sidewalk, you know? And so that's not
No, it's a graven image.
No, I'm with you. It's a graven image, but that's how they talk about these things. Like, oh, wouldn't it be great if the heaven paved with the streets of Jesus gold would be here, you know, in our town?
Those streets were only colored gold. They were not gold like you'd have a gold watch or a gold ring. It's just the color. As you might imagine, it's probably just paint. But no, it defines it in Revelation as unto fine glass. So it's like glass. It's basically tint. So, I mean, I'll give Christians that invention. In the book of Revelation, somebody invents window tint.
Right.
Fine. Fine. No challenge there.
I just want to say, Logan said I just went down the Google image rabbit hole of human tails. James, we tagged in James. James, welcome to the show. Congrats on all the hard work you're doing. I hear him, he's typing away. He's probably blogging as we speak. He's blogging and streaming and, you know, taking over the internet. But welcome to the show, James.
Yes, welcome.
Hey. Thanks, guys. I had something to say about that.
Sure.
There's already an example of that. It's called the Amish. That's already the way that they build their communities.
Yeah.
So if they, there's no law against it. Sometimes, like a non-Amish person, in other words, the English, will open up a store or something in the area, and they're willing to do business with you. But if they would rather it be somebody in the Amish community that does that job.
I didn't
that they can
know
work
that.
with.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I think we can see my father. He was quite fond of telling me about Jewish people, so he got me very curious about Jewish people very early in life. And he mentioned, they typically do support each other when someone starts a business or becomes a pharmacist, a dentist, an attorney, and so on. They patronize each other's businesses. Now, what he didn't do was explain why this is. I had no idea of the garbage that Jewish people have endured over the centuries with the persecution.
Oh, absolutely. 100%.
And you got to live in this part of town. You can't live anywhere else.
Honorary Negroes.
I had no idea, but they turned it into maybe seeing, you know what, I'm not going to be treated poorly by someone who's also Jewish. I'm going to be treated well if I go patronize Chaim over here. If I go to his store, I'm going to be treated well.
Yes.
You know, Moshe is going to treat me beautifully and so on and so on and so on. So they made it a strength and something that binds their community together.
Absolutely, yes.
I don't know if it's
never stopped being humiliated and insulted and embarrassed about it, and since, right? Even now,
they shouldn't be embarrassed about it.
Did you say?
I don't think they should be embarrassed about it.
No, but I'm saying, but people treat them like this shit, right? There's always some powerful Jewish conspiracy.
That's true. There's somebody from the outside pointing a finger.
There's always somebody gonna know the Jews run everything. And if you ever live in a Jewish neighborhood, well, you can't go down the street without it being a Jewish, right? Because it's Christian persecution if you live in the Jewish neighborhood, right? But if you live in, somewhere down south and ain't a lot of Jewish people around, and you get that vibe, same thing going on, but everything is owned by evangelical Christians, it's not a problem. And I really don't want to, y'all know we got to do the catchy titles, and we're in a war. Here's the thing I've realized lately. I have this fundamental disagreement with my teaching mentor. It's not really a fundamental disagreement. We're just working through our language together. And I love Rob Pennock, y'all know that, but we different times, right? He fought his battles in court, I fight mine online. And he talks to our students sometimes like, Well, when the creationists were, really trying to get us in the courts and they were really trying to get their way into the science curriculum, they were doing things like this as though they only did these things in the past, right? And then it'll be like,
Right.
yeah, well, they talk as though they're fighting some kind of holy war. If you really listen to their rhetoric, it's like these people think they're fighting some kind of holy war. This is how we talk to our students, right? And then when they're in my class, I'm like, so this is what the creationists are doing to my black ass right now today. Yeah, let me tell you about the shit they did to my black ass last week. You ain't gonna believe this, right? Now, this is a problem I'm facing today, yesterday, today, and tomorrow. You know what I mean? I don't know what he's talking about in the past. Right. And as far as them Christians talking like they in the holy war and thinking they in the holy war and pretending they in the holy war, and boy, wouldn't they use some words and some language? Like, no. Hi, I'm Jay Bundy. I'm the other side of that holy war. They are currently fighting a holy war, and that war, wars are fought against people, it turns out. And these people right now, they're fighting a very, very real holy war today. And the people they're fighting against, hi, my name's Jay Bundy. I'm the people they're fighting against right now. You see what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is we gotta get real here. I'm about to get real anthropology on y'all. Okay? People always want to talk about exclusionary this and hatred this and divisiveness that and what's the word? Tribalism. We're so tribalistic, y'all. I'm going to tell you something right now. Homosocial reproduction is more powerful than exclusion. Homosocial reproduction is more powerful than exclusion. What am I saying? There's something much deeper than your desire to keep out people that are not like you. It's something much more simple, much more dangerous than that. It's your desire to want to be around people who are like you. So that's the problem. We got this really, 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 really toxic thing that happens as a result of you wanting to exclude the people who are not like you. We do have a us and them problem.
We do.
And the problem is them
and so do they.
Is coming for us. Right. And so do they. Exactly. And at the same time, that is being fed by our very legitimate, very natural, and many would say necessary and good desire to be around people who are like us. And so what we've got to figure out is, we're all on that gradient, and ain't gonna be no hard and fast rules as far as when you go too far one way or the other. If you too much messing with everybody, then you're the Jew who's in a world where ain't a lot of Jews, and you just kind of being treated like a second-class citizen everywhere you go, or you a heathen, and y'all the last people, and the Christians is making fun of you, and the Jews is making fun of you, and the Muslims is making fun of you, and your friends don't really own businesses like that, and that's a rough situation, right? But then if you go too far the other way, right? You're like, yeah, well, we really only do business with each other, and since we have all the businesses we need, we don't really need nobody else around here, and yeah, I guess you could come around here and pick up the scraps if you like to, but I don't really know how you're going to thrive, because there ain't really enough people like you to thrive, and since it's enough of us, for only us to thrive, good luck with that. See what I'm saying? So,
right.
So that's what I'm saying. I'm not really saying, oh, let's demonize everybody because they want to get down with their friends. It's really not a problem like that, and I was raised this way. So in the Poconos, everything's kind of small. Like it isn't that many pizza shops. It's really only like 2 or 3 pizza shops. So everybody kind of knows the pizza man because everybody been getting pizza at the same 2 or 3 places their whole life. So everybody kind of gets the kids, friends, and family discount, but it's fair because pretty much everybody gets it unless you're new, and then you'll get it about the 3rd time you come back to the pizza shop, so don't even worry about it, right? And then, we knew the people that processed our photos, and that was cool because they taught us about photography. They took us into the dark room. They, let us see bad shots, and they gave me old cameras as gifts and stuff. Go ahead. I'm my one black friend.
I gotta break in.
Of course. I'm just rambling. Go ahead.
What Pocket Locker is talking about when he says processing photos. There was a time when cameras had this material called film, which often came in canisters that looked like those things my diabetic test strips
which are necessary because they had to be protected, right?
Yes. See, the film, when it exposed to light, it exposes basically, if you had negatives that were exposed to light, it's still in your canister. The canister went inside your camera. When you take a picture, it imprints the light image in a negative, so it shows the opposite on the film. Then you want to, keep that protected, keep it away from X-rays, don't open it. It would go to a photo processor. What these people would do, it was like taking the data from your memory card, going to Costco, sticking it in the computer, and then printing these things out, okay? Or putting them in your computer and printing the picture out so you could hang it on your wall. So it wasn't that simple before these nice laser jet printers or inkjet printers came along. They actually had to take a laborious process for about $4.99 to $11.99, depending on what you got, and put it on paper. It just didn't come out of a regular printer. It was hard.
Very hard.
There were chemicals involved that were nasty. So that's what he means by processing them.
Yeah.
But ultimately, within a day,
Yeah.
and sometimes, depending on where you went,
After an hour.
In an hour.
Yeah, that was the big thing. Get your photos back in an hour.
What voodoo is this?
Yeah.
In an hour, you could get your photos back.
Yeah. And so there were local stores where that's all they did was they processed people's family photos and their graduate. And they didn't, a lot of times they didn't even take the photos. Now, this place could take photos, but a lot of times it was a different place, right? You went to a photographer and that's where you got the stuff. And then another place processed your, or you got consumer cameras, right? Which came with the film in them. And then you had to take that to the photo shop and get the pictures actually made and blown up or whatever you wanted done. And so it was crazy because if you develop relationships with those people, you loved to spend your money there because they showed you the work that went into your. They took you behind. Oh, Wanda, hey, come, we're back. We're working on the pictures. Oh, we got it out the dye. Oh, yeah, you want to play with the dye? You better be careful. Wash your hands, And they're letting you in. And so then when you spend your little money and got back your family, like, oh, we got them back from Tina, and we knew who they gave, and we saw everything that went into them, and you're showing them off to your family. And that was just part of the thing. It's the same thing. Now, you know what this Photoshop, James, I'm talking about is?
Yeah.
It's a 2-minute walk up the block from where? The Casino Theater and Arcade. Right?
Yeah.
Which is across the street from the pizza shop. Right? That's how it was. Like, we didn't have a lot of places to go. And the Blockbuster was right over there, and there was a grocery store. And so as kids, that was the little, because we're all, we're in these sprawled out little suburbs. So there's these little town centers that parents drive you to. And then when y'all big enough, you can ride your little bike there. It'll take you about 20, 30 minutes, but you could ride your bike there. So that's what we did. We rode our bikes, and we was at the casino, and we could get pizza and pick up the photos from mom and stop at Blockbuster to rent a video game on your way back home. And then when I worked, I used to ride my bike to the KFC and then ride my bike home. And that's how it was. And so even our KFC, everybody knew Art and Pam. That was the people on the KFC. They gave my first job, and all my friends was making fun of me because I'm the only black kid in all white school, and I work at KFC. But that was a rough life, but I had a job, and I could buy stuff for my girlfriends and they couldn't, so there's that. But yeah, so it wasn't bad. And then, even where my grandparents grew up, we knew the church, and you went to the Jewish deli, right? Because, hey, that kosher deli was hitting. They had the best rye bread and the best, what I like, the Reubens, with the corned beef and all of that. You look, you need that corned beef on Jewish rye with mustard. You go into the Jewish deli, and if you're not getting, I'm sorry, you're getting the B team. You're getting the B team deli. That's just, everybody know the Jewish deli's the best. It's just the way it is. It's just facts, folks. Who's a close second, though? The Muslim deli, right? Because they got the halal or whatever, right? Yo.
I didn't know there was a Muslim deli.
Oh yeah. Habib's and them got a deli. Oh yeah, roll on through there and get the rye. Yeah. They got the spicy mustard and everything.
Being in Los Angeles, I should be able to find a Muslim deli. I will now look for one. See what they have.
But yeah, it's just interesting. There's one synagogue, small Texas town. They get plexiglass protecting on their stained glass windows. All the Christian churches around here have the luxury of not having to purchase plexiglass. Yeah, wow. My mother actually loves stained glass. She actually has a stained glass artist put stained glass in windows in her house and stuff. So
like a graven image, or just
no,
regular,
but they're just
colors?
artistic. They're not like religious imagery. They're just like flowers.
But it's a
and they go with their
graven
colors.
image.
Oh, it's a graven image.
It's a flower. It's a graven image.
Oh, yeah, it's a graven
It's a flower.
image.
You're not
Oh,
supposed
definitely
to.
a graven image.
Nothing in the
Oh,
water,
definitely.
nothing under the earth,
Yeah.
nothing in the earth, nothing on the earth, nor in heaven. If you do that, you got a graven image. You're breaking one of the 613 roughly commandments.
Yeah, seriously. But no, what's funny about it is they're great, and so it sort of represents the future to me. We're like, okay, just because we go to more secular society, you don't got to get rid of your stained glass artist. I think she's maybe a woman of color that she loves that does this stuff, and so it's like it's like anything you want, right? So my mom has these weird windows in her house, and I'm sure the place she moves to probably has its own weird stuff, and so she needed like something custom to like go in these weird shaped windows and spaces and stuff like that. And so she has her color scheme. Her favorite color's purple. Her husband's is green. So all their stuff is purple and green. All their Christmas stuff. So she's got these beautiful purple and green, panels, and it's beautiful stuff. So stained glass is still an amazing art form, even though most of us have only seen it on church windows. You could still do something with that skill afterwards. Go ahead.
I've been wanting to get into that. That's exactly what I've been wanting to do for crafts lately. I
Stained
have this
glass?
idea about how. Yeah, I want to do. I have a couple of different ideas, and one of them is a very realistic looking imitation stained glass that is cheaper to produce and safer to transport because it's made on plexiglass. And I have this idea about how I can do it, and I keep wanting to order the supplies for it because I'd like to go in a part-time, like have it be one of my side hustles because I think they're beautiful and I think it'd be therapeutic and fun to make them.
Yeah.
So
I have a suggestion about this, James.
yeah.
So you will need not a 3D printer, but like a CNC machine that can cut out different colors of plexiglass for you. So you essentially would tell it, okay, I want you to cut these out for me. And this is something you can mass produce once you have the machine. And it cuts the shape. You put the appropriate color in there. It cuts the shape. And then you can have your way of, I'd say, gluing these together, whatever, binding them together. And that way you can keep your costs down. CNC machines aren't always expensive. They have lower cost CNC machines or water jet. You might be able to get to use water jet for like $5,000 or something like that.
Yeah, I could do that.
But yeah.
My idea was to take some serious shortcuts, but that could make some really good, some very real stuff.
Yeah.
I could tell you my idea. It's a super shortcut idea, right? So you get plexiglass and you get like a glass table, right? Because lots of times people are selling glass tables, like kitchen tables and things, real cheap for use, like locally, like on Marketplace or something. And so you put a projector, like you find the image you want first on the internet, like I want this design, right? And then you project it from underneath the table, through the table, and through the plexiglass. And then you just have to put a piece of tracing paper between the glass table and the plexiglass so that the image has something to actually like materialize on, so you can visually see it. And then you go over the plexiglass with some kind of like marker or something, anything that draws well on it, to just get a nice smooth flow going, and then just like trace all the lines, and then go back over that and take like some caulking, but like this like colored caulking, like a dark gray colored caulking or a black colored caulking, so that it looks like the lead lines that they put on to separate the images with. And then once that dries, you can take anything that once it dries is the color you want. So you can use acrylics, like liquid acrylics, that different colors, or you can even use something like that's a food-based thing, like gelatin, colored gelatin. Once it evaporates, it hardens into this like rubbery plastic stuff that doesn't mold or decay or anything. So
like my cupcake.
Like a cupcake, yeah. So I want to experiment. I want to experiment with different like natural and unnatural substances to see what gives me the best color effect that I want. And then all I have to do is build the frame for it, which is going to be its own kind of a project, right? And then you'd be able to get, it would look like real stained glass, but it would be very durable, and you can get the exact image that you want, and it would be like on a budget, right? Because you don't got to spend like thousands of dollars on it.
Right.
And then I could teach other people how to do it, and I just think it'd be fun. But I like your idea of getting proper equipment and cutting pieces and stuff like that. I think that if you were to look close, that would be a better looking kind of end result.
Well, then you can mass produce it.
I also think you guys will find
Yeah.
very quickly that this is a way better way to grow on YouTube than Counter-Apologetics. Just saying.
Yeah, I actually would like to make a channel.
You would connect
like
with
to make
normal
that.
people. I don't even, yeah, but then always make sure it comes back to this channel though too, right? Because you got to always
yeah.
think about that. Yeah. If you're gonna create a network, you got to focus on the connections. But yeah, go ahead.
Right.
I want to address Dirty Rodent's comment. Yes, watching YouTube, it is graven images. It really is.
Absolutely.
But something else you've hit upon here. Can I scroll? How do I do this? Nerdy Rodent asks, I wonder how many weird commandments I can break in a day. How about
That's a
next
great video
week?
though. Yeah.
Next week, yeah, we go through the full list. Well, we get through as many as we can of commandments. And then
13, huh?
we just one at a time. Who's broken this one?
Yeah.
Like,
It'll be our first 8-part series of trying to get through the.
I think this shirt might have 2 fabrics. I think it might. So
We could turn that into like a media game, like what do you call those hunts? Where people look for items.
scavenger hunts.
Scavenger hunt, except it's a law-breaking hunt. Like you have to video document yourself breaking commandments. Whoever breaks the most before the contest is over wins.
On the James Apperson Network.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like at some point, like one of the commandments is like don't touch a dead body. So like somebody's gonna have to like raid somebody's funeral, pretend like they know the deceased person, take a selfie of them like
Oh my god.
like breaking that commandment and then
like a group challenge and just start ticking them off. See if we could just as a group outsource.
I may not be able to participate at all in that.
Listen, I can find a couple crickets to roast.
I'm sure. They could roast a couple crickets.
boil a baby goat in its mother's milk.
All right, Caterpillar.
Yeah, now is a cheese sandwich. Sorry, is a cheeseburger violating seething a calf in its mother's milk? Is it violating that? I wonder.
If
It's really not. I
Caterpillar
wouldn't count
bathes
it.
her goat in a tub of milk, does that count?
That was a fertility ritual. So from another culture, and it was forbidden by the ancient Hebrews. Like, no,
I see.
don't do that. Don't do that. So it's funny that way.
So James, I guess for me, and I guess some of this is catching my one black friend up, but we've been dealing with a lot of really weaponized Christianity lately on the internet.
Really?
Oh yeah, just I've been harassed in my personal life. A lot of contact to my colleagues and people at my university, and just actively trying to interfere with my employment based on complete fabrications and misrepresentations, and then. There's Stephanie's kind of like always.
Go ahead, keep going. I'm going to get you a scripture so you can
Okay.
reply to them.
She stalks out
with their own.
But yeah, she stalks James, and it kind of just comes through and blaming our comment section, but then
Stephanie,
she came through there the other night talking about the hospitals are responsible for the COVID numbers and stuff like that. With Wayne in the chat, like, sorry, I worked at a children's hospital. Like, you can get that out of here. And then, Sal was, Rebecca's personal young Earth creation anti-science coach, mentor, was, insulting speed of sound and making fun of some of his personal struggles in the past and his grieving of the loss of his daughter who was tragically murdered, and it's like he's making fun of this guy. And yesterday we watched Sal just out of nowhere just start praying for Ken Hovind to go to jail, and putting all the business of his viewers and his followers out there in the street, because he was like praying. You know how they should do in church. And sister so and so was going through a divorce, and her husband just left her after he knocked her upside the head and told her he was sleeping with her best friend, and we just want to pray for her. You gonna get through it. You better than him, sister. And so just told us that she got diagnosed with AIDS, And Lord, we just want to lay hands on her and healing. And we told you this is really the consequences of that sexual immorality. But Jesus, we're counting on you to move in a mighty way, right? Like they're just putting everybody's business out on the street. And it's almost like this blood sport of, one, like you said, like we talked about, you shouldn't be praying in public, right? So it's like this grandstanding on YouTube. I'm gonna, we're just gonna pray down the walls here on YouTube. And really it's just putting everybody's dirty laundry out there in the street, and not with any sort of anything other than to just gossip. It's like a gossip
really
pass.
is that.
It's a gossip pass.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
And we had so much fun talking about it though, because he was being really, really passive aggressive at Jesus. Like he was being really critical of Jesus for not converting all the evil heathens so that he could live in a better society. He was like really talking some shit about Jesus to Jesus, like, Jesus, you need to do a better job.
Yeah. And so for this Sal guy, right? This is like the next personal thing, right? This is my next challenger because number one, we're, for better or worse, a lot of us consider Rebecca a friend or part of our community, and Sal is the thing that's the person who's most undermining all of the goodwill and good faith work a lot of us feel like we've been doing with Rebecca, right? We've all been part of Rebecca's life now for quite a while. We've been watching her grow and deal with this, and she's put a lot into this too, right? She's turned her community, in a sense, over to the atheist mission as opposed to the Christian echo chamber, and she's paid a heavy price for it, right? But now Sal's got her doubling down on, I can be a young earth creationist, anti-science geek, as opposed to, listening to that voice of reason that has got her this far with this community, right?
I want to comment about this. I don't know anything about Sal. I can't comment about Sal, but Rebecca, I can. So Rebecca is being heavily criticized for literally doing what Jesus said to do.
Yes.
Now, let me explain why that's important. She makes other people look bad, her fellow Christians. She makes them look bad because she's not being lazy about it. She's actually spending her time, as I said to her when she came on Hot Program, seeking and saving the lost. That is what she is called to do. And if her audience is predominantly atheists, I think that speaks volumes for, one, her commitment, and two, her interest in really doing what she wants. Look, it's a Sunday. So many Christians around the world have gone to church or will go to church today. It's kind of late. But anyway, many will do it. But the Sabbath is really Saturday. Why didn't they go yesterday? Millions did. Seventh-day Adventists. I think Jehovah's Witnesses meet on Saturdays too. But many did. But a person like Rebecca, I don't know if she did a stream yesterday or will do one today, but she probably will do several this week where she's trying to get people to gather together and ultimately, hear the gospel.
Hear the word of God.
She's doing it.
Hear the word of God.
She's doing it. And so all these people who are criticizing her aren't doing it. Some of them might be, but most of them will never do as much as her. And the fact that she is outshining them makes them feel bad. So what do they have to do? Make her feel bad. That is the exact wrong thing to do from the Christian point of view. The Christian point of view would say, okay, she's doing that. Strengthen her, build her up, support her, that she can do that. Because she clearly is the one who is fit for that purpose.
What's interesting is people like Sal are feeding into that narrative for her in a way that I guess she identified as positive. So I think what you just gave here was a very critical perspective, right? Because that kind of explains maybe why she's like Sal, right, James? And then even Stephanie, who is, a lot of us recognize as instantly toxic type of heat. I think Rebecca feels is, well, now Rebecca's got an actual soldier and a fighter and somebody who's willing to get ugly for her the way Rebecca's got to get into the, because it's almost like very few of her fans will get into the mud with us, with her, right? And so maybe that's why she's tolerates Stephanie to some extent. Go ahead, James.
No, I agree 100%. All that's very insightful.
Well, I'm not the first to say. Go ahead.
So, the other thing that was part of this stream we were watching, so we've been kind of Sal preparing because I might have a debate with him, and he's also an anti-Avita apologist, and you know that's how I make my money. So I mean,
what is that?
It's the software. It's the software I use for my work and my educational work. So now you're undermining what I do in the curriculum even more so than my research. And you know, again, my message is very simple. You can throw all the punches you want at science, but you just got to be prepared. Eventually, there's going to be a scientist in a university willing to support a scientist who is going to punch back. And you're going to have to deal with it. And I'm going to be their Mashiach. And I'm going to have to tell you, nope, I get paid to fight people like you. Right? And it's just what it is. And so Sal is clearly just the perfect concoction of everything wrong. And it's personal.
Right. Well, look, if you need help trying to convict him with his own scriptures,
all right, so I was just setting this up, but here's the thing I want to let you know about. So here's the thing he did that was worse than that. All of this is in part of the stream we're watching, where one, he starts by bending the knee at the Queen, and wouldn't be great if we were still, you know, we have so much to thank England and the colonialism for. It's been so wonderful for Western civilization. God save the Queen. I wish no, well, he didn't. Not the Queen.
He didn't. She didn't make it.
Yeah.
But she had a remarkable life, I'll say that. And what is it, 92 years? Yeah. Not bad. And she drove an ambulance in World War II and all that stuff. She didn't just sit on her hands and do nothing.
Yeah, I got no problem with her. Yeah. So the thing that's crazy is so then he goes on, right, and he's celebrating this the Constitution of the state of Virginia. Weird thing to have a stream about. Yeah, from 1700. Yeah. Weird thing to have a stream about, but somehow this is related to, I guess the Queen is dead, and so let's celebrate common, I don't know. And then it all leads to his also celebrating this proclamation that they needed to have a day of Thanksgiving. And all this time, he keeps coming back to their Christian words. You know, they talked about in the Constitution and their separation of church and state, about how there should be Christian forbearance and peace, love, and hope, and charity, the Christian, blah, blah, blah. And then, and look, they did a day of thanks and prayer where they talked about in remission of sin, and, we're all so guilty-ridden, but we know that God is going to bring us grace and mercy and glory and the bounty of his harvest. So we hereby, I, the governor, say that this Thursday next year we're gonna have a day of Thanksgiving and prayer. And so Salah's like, amen, hallelujah. Do you see how much the government used to just want to celebrate Jesus all the time, and you were supposed to practice Jesusness everywhere. You were supposed to Christian over here and Christian over there and Christian everywhere. Go ahead.
Religion is useful.
And so
see how long ago that was, and it reaches into today to form the opinions of someone who probably would find a lot of other behaviors of those Virginians despicable.
Right. He's coming from a Filipino guy, right? And that's the thing. He thinks he
even worse. Yeah, that's shocking to me.
So no, but here's the thing.
I know, right?
Since
he grew up here, he grew up in the United States for sure.
Yeah, he's clueless.
since he is evangelical passing with them folks.
Passing this? Wait a minute. I'm sorry. Okay, so forgive me for the interruption.
So go ahead. No, you're good.
My parents are from the South. Both my parents were black people. And a term you will hear from Southerners, at least Southern black people, is passing. What this means is not a person is. They're not. If you hear it, they're probably not referring to someone's death. They're probably referring to a black person who, for all intents and purposes, appears to be a white person. Like a person has at least one black parent.
Yeah.
Might have one white parent too.
Yeah.
But it could go on for several generations.
A couple people in my family like this. Yeah, my grandmother's very light skinned. My mother's light skinned than mine, but she's not light passing enough. And my grandmother, as she's gotten older, has gotten a little bit darker. But my grandmother's very fair skinned when she was young. But even her, it's her brothers. She's always darker. Her brothers are like pale black guys with short curly hair, and we wouldn't call them passing because it's almost an insult in some sense. Like it's almost like saying, well, you kind of whitish looking. Yeah. So we don't.
That's not the goal.
We don't think they're white, and we don't think they look like white people. You see what I'm saying? But they are. That's what we're talking about. They're that light skinned, and you know what I mean. And so. But what I say about Palace, he's evangelical passing. And so he also thinks he also is playing into his white passing as part of his fantasy. And so when he sits up there and he talks about these things, he imagines that he'd be in there, around the royal table when they're signing the declaration, and he'd be at their footstool handing them the quill. And the chat is like, no, Sal, you be out there praying to the winds, mining stone in
the muck and the mire,
in the muck and the mire, right?
An unpaid slave.
Yeah, essentially an unpaid slave. And some of these black folks you think would be worse off because we would be. We'd all be slaves too. But some of us would be sitting in the shade, house niggas, and bringing master his lemonade or whatever, while you out there in the mines, right?
Well, they tended to have the lighter skinned people doing that. So
you know what I'm saying? So
they were the more valuable slaves.
It just don't. And also when we could read before everybody else, we wondering, well, how do we learn? Why does our family learn how to read so much earlier than the other black people? Oh shit, maybe we had a different role on the plantation, right? Why has your family been ministers since the plantation? Maybe it's because they were taught the Bible. Maybe that meant they could read. Maybe that was useful when they wanted black people to minister to the other slaves.
Religion is useful.
Religion is useful. And so if you were to...
You're getting a glimpse.
Right? And you see, there's novels about this, there's movies about this, right? Where there's that little black boy and the slaves kind of quietly, secretly, he learns how to read, right? And then what does he do? He reads the Bible to them, right? You always see the slaves gathering around, he's reading the Bible to them, and then maybe somebody in the house realizes, oh my goodness, this little black boy that can read. Well, master gonna whoop his ass and find out. Well, make master pretend we taught him how to read. Yeah, we taught this little black boy how to read, and now look at him, he can read the word of God, and he can say the Lord's Prayer. Say the Lord's Prayer. Our Father who art in heaven. Can we keep him, Daddy? Can we keep him? Right? And then he goes and reads it, right? And so, they had babies, and sometimes them babies end up in New Jersey. I don't know, but look, we do have the family documentation of being ministers all the way back to the plantation. So it's not an unreasonable story. It's just you got to ask these questions. But here's the thing. The reason I set all that up is to say we are dealing with these people, my one black friend, I want to set the stage, who are celebrating this idea of this theocracy, like flat out. They are just, everything they do has this very strong hint of theocracy. And this is what these people are celebrating. Look, y'all, it ain't just the young earth creationism and the anti-science. It's that we need to have national days of Thanksgiving. We need to have a government that's willing to come out and say the name of Jesus. And that's where this leads. It leads to that same church lady mentality that wants to get her hair done, or grocery, or pharmacy, and her photos developed with people who go to her church. It leads to a country that wants the contractors who make and pave the roads to be the Christian contractors who pave the roads, and the Christian tree cutters. And what do these people do when they get their corporate jobs? So let's stop playing. Let's stop playing. Let's throw all the bullshit aside. When you go on a job interview, you ain't supposed to talk about what? Politics, religion, income, blah, blah, blah. And what do every single one of these creatards do when they want a corporate gig? What do? They come in with their corporate suit on.
Don't say creatard.
They're not all creatards, right? Just Christians in general. A lot of people, what do? They got what? They got this on, y'all.
The cross.
They got their cross necklace on, right, when they go for the interview. And Bob, tell us about your weakness. Tell us about your greatest weakness. Well, you know, my greatest weakness is that as a strong Christian woman, I'm sometimes too bit of a perfectionist. And I'm always on time, and my farts don't stink. But praise Jesus, just because Jesus has done a work in my life. You know, oh, we feel you're so comfortable and trustworthy. We just feel like you'd fit right into the family atmosphere here at Corporate Savings and Loans. And it's just, go ahead, James.
I mean, yeah, I've actually gotten jobs. When I used to be a Christian, I have gotten jobs because I was a Christian. And I've watched other people not get the job because they weren't a Christian. And after they'd leave, he'd make excuses. And after they'd leave, he said, yeah, I could tell they weren't right with the Lord, so they weren't going to fit in here. But it wasn't like a religious place to work. It was just a warehouse. Like,
it's people,
I'm
hang on real quickly. It's people in the chat right now.
Oh, the chat's glowing, yeah.
It's people in the chat right now that cannot tell their coworkers they're atheists. It would be the fast ticket to the eating alone, sitting alone at lunch, and for many, much worse. It would be an immediate glass ceiling. Maybe they've worked there long enough that they won't get fired or face immediate consequences, but that higher office private meeting talk of being pushed up the ladder is over as of the moment they utter those words. That's the reality that a lot of people live with.
I can't say that.
I'm gonna let the chat tell you. I'm gonna let the chat tell you.
Well, okay.
Look at AR right there. True, I can't.
Everyone's experience is unique. I think sometimes people are relieved. In my line of work, I think they're relieved when they learn I'm an atheist because they.
Well, same, but I'm an evolutionary biologist, right? So when I tell people that, my director was like, "Oh, dude, so am I," right? And then my teaching mentor goes, "Jay, I don't know, but I'm gonna tell you this. I think that counter-apologetic stuff you're doing with the creationists, man, they're harassing, they're blowing up my email. But I gotta tell you, I think it's really important. I think you're doing great work, right? I'm just saying, I'm saying this because I'm safe saying it, knowing a lot of other people aren't.
Yeah, well.
Yeah.
I want to get a few of the comments in here. Where is that one? 7 billion born during her reign. Who said that? In reference to the Queen, which was followed up by Nerdy Rodent, saying something to the effect that she must be very tired or something. Yeah. She must have been quite tired after that. So Carrie Ann said 7 billion born in the Queen's lifetime. And then, let's see, Cameron commented about that religious people have the community aspect. I think that is definitely a positive aspect of it. But like many communities, there are a series of disagreements within. There are Christianities, to borrow from I forget that guy's David Fitzgerald. There are Christianities, not a single Christianity, because each person believes in their very own way. They often have vastly different ideologies about one thing or several things, which is why there are so many different sects of Christianity. I don't know that that's bad. I want to thank Pocket Locker for introducing me to the phrase passing as Christian, which is personally hilarious, and I will be repeating that, and maybe that's what my little channel for short should be, passing as Christian. But I think there's a lot, as typically, so a lot of good points in the chat. 0125AR, funny how the Holy Spirit forgot to get rid of slavery until the 1700s. AR, I'm sure you know this. There are still parts of the world where there is still slavery, which is shocking to me. More talk about Rebecca. She gets heat from both sides, says Cameron.
Yeah. I want to add. I want to address this creationist crybaby. Not that I have to address this because I keep addressing this. It's so weird. So he said, "Hi Jay, I'm a double major in college." Probably not. Probably a liar. Probably a troll. Because if you were a double major in college, you probably wouldn't ask me this dumb question, right? So this is the type of dumb double major question that comes from somebody who's not a double major, because double majors don't ask stupid questions like this. Hi, Jay. I'm in double major in college. I'm doing one senior thesis for both. When I graduate, do I get 2 bachelor's degree? Thanks. I don't know. Do you? Why are you asking me questions about your program? So you're probably not a double major. See what I'm saying? Yeah, they don't know how to answer it. You see, they asking me what they get when they finish their program. Did I ask them what I got when I finished my program? No, I didn't do that. I'm assuming, I'm gonna give you a whole lot of credibility you probably haven't earned, but I'm assuming you're going to like a legit major public university, you know, like one of them ones everybody's heard of and maybe watches play football every Saturday. One of them type of schools. But let's say you did one of them and you did a double major in, say, business management and, I don't know, electrical engineering. Yeah, here's what happens. You go on a job interview and somebody asks you, do you have a bachelor's degree in business administration? You be like, yes. Right? And they'll be like, do you have a bachelor's degree in electrical engineering? You're going to be like, sure do. Right? That's what we call a double major, right? Now, the fact that you only went to college once to finish both them programs, we'd be like, bravo, good for you. Congratulations. And yeah, that's why your university celebrates them double majors. They be like, so-and-so has a bachelor's in this and a bachelor's in that, and that's one more major than the rest of y'all with one major got. So shut the fuck up. And those of you with 0 majors, oh, that's right, you're not even part of this ceremony, are you? So yeah, the only people that care if I claim that I have both a PhD in integrative biology and also a PhD in ecology, evolutionary biology, and behavior is Michigan State University. And the Department of Integrated Biology that definitely wants me to remind people every chance I get that I'm a graduate of the program. And the ecology, evolutionary biology, dual PhD program that solely exists so that people from various disciplines in science can get that dual PhD. They definitely let that PhD X2. They be like, yup. And then I tell them the funny part is, I'll be like, you know what? Depending on what situation I'm in, if I go for an EB job, I tell them, hey, y'all, I got a PhD in ecology, evolutionary biology, and behavior, and a PhD in integrative biology. And if I go to a biology department or integrated biology department, I slide up on them fools kind of crooked. I'll be like, did y'all know I have a PhD in integrative biology and a PhD in ecology, evolutionary biology, and behavior? Yeah, that's how we do that. Yeah, see, when you get it, when you earn it like that, you can flip it whichever kind of way you want it. You can say, I got 1 PhD with a dual major. I got 2 PhDs with a single major at the same time. I wrote dissertations one dissertation that was so damn good, both of them love it. It just...
Your answer is too extensive.
Too many options. It's too extensive. Options. I got too many options.
So the creationist cry, and by the way, welcome Dr. Josh and Stupid Horror Energy and Jerome Robinson.
We got like big hitters out here.
Yeah. Creationist Crybaby just has written, did you get 1 diploma or 2? My mom is asking. Creationist Crybaby, I would say this. Just make photocopies and distribute them as you please. Because I'm sure your parents would be glad that you had a copy of your diploma hanging where you choose, but would be happy when they can see the one that you framed for them. Yes. And it's in their home because they know they did well by raising you. So that's what I would encourage you, anyone, and not just you.
And I'm going to leave it alone with this. Tell your mama to ask my mama, because I did what a decent person should do, is when they ask me where to send my dissertation and where to send my diplomas and all of that, I said, mama's house. So you could call her and ask her whether she got 1 or 2 or where she framed it or what they look like, and I'm sure she'd be more than happy to send you all the photographic evidence you would like. And if you hit me up on social media or email me, I will happily send you a PhD of my dissertation, and you will see right there on the front page, accepted and completion of both them programs. So have fun with that. I'm sure you would love to read it. It's a thriller. I mean, I can't tell you. I spent a decade working on it. So I think it's very, very good if you're asking for my personal opinion. Go ahead, my one black friend.
Okay. So I have to take advantage of this opportunity. Dr. Josh has joined us. Dr. Josh, I have a question for you. This is in your discipline of Assyriology. Do you happen to know if any Assyrian army ever was either called the Flaming Sword or had some sort of detachment called the Flaming Sword or a similar name? Very important to something I'm working on. Please let me know. And if the answer is no, that's fine.
I also just want to know, hey, Dr. Josh Bone, as a white dude, how often do you have your credentials questioned in public? Sorry, I'm sorry, I'm kidding. Dr. Josh, all seriousness, please don't answer that question. We're huge fans. Thanks for being here. Actually, didn't you play Dr. Josh Bone? Play that Josh Bone clip right now. Let's get it. Let's get it. Let's get it. Come on. Let's get it. He's here. You know, we like to do.
Okay.
Hey, Josh Bone, we're just treating you like everybody else. When you're friends and family, if we find a great clip of you on the internet, we're going to play it without your permission. We don't care if you're embarrassed. We don't care if you like the sound of your own voice. If you don't like seeing yourself on screen, we do it to everybody. So welcome.
Yes. And Dr. Josh, can you type in the chat the name of your new book, which is already available? Thank you, Cameron. Type the name of it in there, and anyone who's interested, please, you can get that. And he has other books that are on Amazon that you can get as well. Okay, perfect. All right. I would love to be in contact with William Reed, and thank you for that. But Dr.
James,
Josh, also please put the name of maybe a few of your books if you'd like to, or links to them on Amazon, which is probably better for you because then you can get your affiliate pay as well. So feel free to do that here in the chat.
I want to know if Dr. Josh knows Dr. Shirley Gertz, who specializes, she's an Assyriologist as well, and she specializes in things like the Epic of Gilgamesh. Like, I want to know if he knows that name or not. So in the meantime, I'm scrolling down looking for the clip we played the other day. Shirley
Okay,
Gertz.
Doc. For those who are listening and not watching, because I often listen to podcasts and don't watch them, Dr. Josh has shared with us the names of some books. The Atheist Handbook to the Old Testament, and there's a volume 1 and volume 2 that you can get on amazing.com over there on Amazon.
Yeah, Dr. Josh, also I gave you mod privileges on Hot Programs, so you should be able to drop a link in the chat. Also, Dr. Josh, we're live usually around the clock, around the week on Pocket Locker 86. If you'd like to subscribe to my other channel, go ahead, James.
I've got it. I'm trying to remember how to share. Oh, I found it. Hold on. Or whenever you're ready, like I'm sharing it.
Oh yeah. Okay. Let me.
Go for it.
Let me pull it up here.
He's got it.
Yeah, he's got it. Yeah, here we go.
Let me know when you're ready.
I'm ready.
Okay, here we go.
Oh wait, what's the question though? There's a question.
You want to set? You want to set this up, James?
Or does he say it in the thing, or does he say it in the video?
This is about religious fundamentalism and how they're not compatible with worship, because they're always posturing as they've got an edge over us when it comes to doing research and doing scholarly research and engaging in legitimate Bible scholarship, and that's the opposite of that. Like, they do not have an edge. They're completely.
Hang on a sec, James. I don't know, your audio cut out for a second. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. So let me know.
Yeah, just play it. I don't know. It looked like your signal got weak. I can see it's like a red signal. I don't know. It looks weak or something. But yeah, go ahead.
Oh. All right. Well, I mean, hold on.
Or is there a direct
link to it? Close a couple applications. Maybe that'll help.
Yeah, probably.
I mean, I can. If you'd rather, I could just share a direct link.
Yeah.
Here, I'll do it. So it'll go directly to.
Yeah. That's perfect.
And for those
the 22:38 mark.
22:38. For those listening, go back about 2 minutes when you watch this for the link from Dr. Josh to his books. So you can click on that and enjoy those. James?
All right, James, where'd you send the link? In private chat?
Are you there?
Yeah. Yeah, James, can you hear us?
No. See, every time I share something can you hear me?
Yeah, we can.
I share something in Restream, it crashes Restream.
Oh, it's fine. It's fine.
Which is
yeah,
Okay.
James.
my channel.
Yeah, James, it's all right. Reset. Yeah, he'll probably reset. I think this is why he uses StreamYard on his channel. Yeah.
Okay.
He has an issue with Restream. It's all right.
Okay. I want to ask Dr. Josh another question. Would you be interested? I think I can put this together, or we can put this together, in a game show with Kent Hovind's ex-wife Jo and his son Eric, where me, yourself, and other people who do a good or bad Kent Hovind impression answer questions, and I want to call it the Hovind Off. So if there's maybe 3 or 4 people doing impressions, I'll be happy to host it, and we can have Eric and Jo Hovind play against each other for a prize. So let me know if you'd be interested in that.
All right, guys, I'm going to play the clip. Here we go.
Thank you.
In his conclusion, it's on page 148. What I have attempted to demonstrate here is not that one way of understanding the book of Daniel is somehow the right one. So he's talking about aspects of the dating of the book of Daniel. On the contrary, scholarship is always pushing beyond today's status quo, probing, challenging, applying new data and new theory. What I have been trying to show is that, despite noises to the contrary, fundamentalism is incompatible with scholarship. Fundamentalism has already determined its conclusions. It is not seeking because it already knows the answer. If it has good evidence on its side which supports the Bible, it uses it. If it has little data, it twists and interprets what it has to support the Bible. If it has no evidence, it hypothesizes that such will eventually be found. And of course, no amount of contrary evidence is sufficient. Fundamentalism can never conclude that the Bible is wrong.
Wow. Well said.
Had to get the last part in there so I could hear my man Derek. Shout out to Myth Vision Podcast. I'm sure most of you are, but if you're not already, make sure you subscribe to Derek. Yeah, I know a lot of y'all think I'm name dropping out here, but that's just one of my mods. You know, I'm just trying to help out, you know, one of my mods. He's a young guy with a young family. He's an up and coming YouTuber, so I gotta plug the little people, you know. It's what A-list atheists do. You know, we have serious responsibilities out here. But also, Josh, appreciate the comment about the credentials. I appreciate that. Thanks for the support. It means a lot to me coming from you. You definitely have a lot of respect out here. And I admire that. I always try to tell Derek, and it's good to tell Josh and others that I think that the Academy has fallen short of its responsibilities to the public. We do our jobs as scholars, whether directly or indirectly, through public funding at universities that get millions, if not billions of dollars of said public funding, and then decide that they can publish their findings in academic journals and academic press hidden behind paywalls and years of education that then make it so that the masses are illiterate while the literate people are stuck around, you know, sniffing each other's farts. So I really do appreciate people like you and Derek, and certainly your, you know, academic support system that allows you to do the kind of work you do out here on the most powerful educational institution in the world. Of course, the most unregulated one at the same time, that being YouTube. But yeah, so the stage for us was just sort of like, okay, these people are serious about their theocracy, and then they only want to do business with each other. We're also, you know, we watched the Trump rally, so we seen how he gets down with, you know, this is just like a straight organized mob, right? He's even like, Oh, yeah, let me tell you about the time I sent Angela Merkel, you know, a female head of state for Germany. Let me tell you about the time I sent her a white flag in the mail. Like, it's like, all right, y'all, we gotta take these things seriously, right? We've got to take that these people are really seriously, and sometimes not so seriously, but sometimes very seriously, trying to exclude us from this Christian theocracy, government, economy, educational system that they're trying to create right in front of our eyes. And so that's where the idea of the Christian Commerce Club came from. It was just let's talk about the fact that there's economic consequences for us too. You know, they're not just trying to tell us we can't decide when we're pregnant. Eventually they're going to try to tell us, yeah, y'all could keep your business open if you want to, but we might make it hard for you to do business.
You know, I forget who I was listening to. No, it was Myth Vision. I don't recall who Derek was speaking with, but they were talking about the Apostle Paul and maybe the idea that was Paul gay. And I know Bishop Shelby Spong, he had this idea, you know, as well. He kind of wondered himself. As many of us will remember, Paul had a thorn in his side, a messenger from Satan to torment him. And as many of you also know, right now I'm doing some research into the book of Revelation and the Gospel of John, thinking that Revelation came first, then followed by the Gospel of John, and then the Synoptics came after. And that's going quite well. I'm now writing things down, which is important. But as I considered this idea of Paul having a messenger from Satan that tormented him, a thorn in his side, I wonder if he didn't take some mark in his hand and thinking he was in the rights by doing so, right? Because Revelation talks about that God will seal his people in their forehead, but the enemy will seal them in their right arm or right hand and their forehead. By the way, in some cultures, your hand is all of this and your arm is all of this. I better lift my arm up. So it just depends. Just like your neck could also mean your head and your neck, not just your neck. So I have to wonder if that wasn't something that the Apostle Paul did, and maybe it's some sort of scar or something permanent that he can't remove. It just won't seem to go away, and it's not meant to, I suppose. So I'll let you know. But that was a curious thing. So if Christians are trying to keep everything amongst Christians, so wouldn't that mean we couldn't buy or sell without whatever they consider some sort of proof that we're Christians?
I mean, it's so weird, but I feel like that's what they do now. Like that's what. And here's the other thing is, and it's great to have James on because James is talking about how it's all a con, it's all a scam, and if you're not doing the scamming, if you're not doing the scamming, well, you're then probably a victim of the con, and that's what I think is going on. So I used to always joke, what I would do as a business, I would just charge Christians 10% more. If I'm not doing a business where if I'm doing a business where I got to give them an estimate or just quote them a price on things, just always charge them 10% more. Why? Well, because
you're going to donate it to your side?
No, because I show up at their church on Sunday. I wear my cross, so they just assume I'm giving them the best price. They send us all their business. They're never going to check. They're never going to compare what I actually charge other people. So every time Christians come in here, smiling, and you see the cross pen, they say, "Oh, I know Jay." It's not somebody says, "Oh, I know Jay from church." Here, just charge them 10% more. It just increases our profit margin. They don't know, right? Because that's the point. They never check any of this. They want to do, somebody was saying this, maybe it was James was saying, like, if we all did a thing where we would organize in a conference, we'd have somebody watch the books, because even though we trust all the people involved, we'd just say, hey, let's have 2 people look at the book so we can make sure nobody's doing anything weird. But they always want to get to the point where, oh, it's all on faith, and you don't got to worry about it. This is my man, and he trusted. And so they're ripe to just be grifted from. So why honor the family and friends discount? Why not just make it a family and friends penalty? Tell them it's a family and friends discount. They'll go around, oh, go see Jay, it'll hook you up, and then I'm just charging them more. They ain't never gonna check. You know, I mean, and I wouldn't do that, but it's the point that we should position this as something that is risk for them too. They're putting all of their faith in the faith system rather than checking if anybody's actually being faithful. And so it is, I think this is what happens. I'd say this is what happens with black people. If anybody thinks this isn't real, then I hate to say this, get ready for life as a black politician. Because here's what happens as a black politician.
Uh-oh. That may be my future, as you know.
Okay, so here's what happens. You're no longer atheist. Sorry, Malone.
Oh, no.
You're maybe questioning, you're secular, you don't like to talk about this, you think these are interesting questions, you try to keep an open mind. Because let me tell you what happens. You need to be somewhere on Sunday. And you may not like this, but I'm just telling you, you can say no to me, I'm fine with that. But if you have a campaign team, and there's black people on that campaign team, and they know anything about black politics in America, they're going to tell you this till you're blue in the face. Yeah, I'll hear that. Hot program. I watched hot program. Nice show. Good job. Great. Love the skepticism. That's all nice. You need to be somewhere on Sunday morning. I don't care where it is. I don't care if it's, and that's what they mean. They mean exactly what they say. You need to call somewhere. That's what Barack Obama did, right? That's why Barack Obama got himself in trouble, right? He found him his little friendly, this where me and Michelle go, and we stand and we clap and do that. And then it turns out he was sitting in the mug who had an opinion. And his mug was like, yeah, I'm Barack Obama's pastor, and I got something to say. And then Barack was like, oh my goodness, right? But that's why we got caught out there, because he really ain't that religious. But everybody knows they got to be somewhere on Sunday. Why is that? Because black people don't vote for people who are not Christians.
I've said this on Hot Program before. I could just get my name on the ballot and probably win by virtue of how many people would think they've met me or know me. Because my name, my one black friend, makes it, well, that's my voting for my friend, right? Yeah. But at any rate, you know my real name, and you've commented, it's so generic. I've long said I could win on my name. Oh, you'd be
fine.
Alone.
Yeah, you'd be fine.
Yeah, I could win. No one would. I didn't have to go anywhere or show up to anything that wasn't required by law.
But you would be an exception in so many ways, right?
I would be.
And that's would be. Yeah, and also it wouldn't not be the same thing. It'd be the same thing. It just said it would be. We would say you did the groundwork to the part where they skipped that, right? I deal with a lot of politicians like that. They just don't. You know, you wouldn't run around telling them, "Hi, I'm your real name," and then I'm an atheist, vote for me. You would just say, hi, I'm my one black friend. I'd like to talk to you about what's going on in our community, blase glavinoids, and then they go up and, you know. But I'm telling you, at high level politics, for a lot of this, I mean, stuff my dad taught me growing up, he's like, look, a lot of these politicians, he's like, this is how it is. They know if they want to get elected, they have to be somewhere on Sunday, because there's going to come a time and the place. They're going to have to be able to tell somebody, oh, yeah, I go to this and this church, so-and-so is the head of my spiritual life, we're the pastor, and so-and-so, blah, 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 and they do that. And they all know it's just part of the dance.
I disagree with your dad. I think that to some degree, that is the expectation. Look, when I go get my oil changed, I only want them to use my expensive oil, synthetic oil that I brought in there for my aging Prius. And it runs so well, I kind of think they have been using the oil that I brought in there. I trust that place. I don't give a rip what religion those people are. And when I send business to them from my neighbors, like my neighbors will ask, who do I go to? Who do I recommend? I don't care what that person's religion are. And people, granted, I live in Southern California. People don't typically ask me if someone is a Christian. And I'll say this. If I'm in that position where a minister says, look, I know you're a non-believer, but I like your policies. I like what you have to say. Will you be willing to come speak in my church? Religion doesn't have to ever be a topic of mine. If, let's say I get on a national stage, right? And now people are wondering, well, he's an atheist. He's got to make this nation more atheistic. I'll tell them, look, dude, I don't need to do anything against religion. If you pay attention, you're doing it to yourselves. You're making other people hate what you're doing. It's not me. I don't have anything to do with that. I see a lot of hypocrisy. I'm here not just to win my place in politics, to win my place in office. I genuinely care about my communities and this country. I genuinely care.
But here's the reality.
That's why I'm here. And hold on, one more thing. And I've said this. When I finally reach the day when I value the health of this nation more than I do my own comfort, I'll run. I've said it. I admitted I'm being very selfish, never having run, because I feel that my quality of life will go down.
It will.
There's no question about it.
Here's the other thing that people don't realize. You could put all that out there and you can lose. And what a lot of people is, and even if you win, here's the thing. Again, you'll be the exception, and you'll have to do it alone, and you'll have to do it your own way. And it'll be because you stand on these things. But I'm telling you, you're going to make your life a lot harder. And the other thing is, you're just living in a different reality. When my dad's talking about what he's talking about what it takes to get elected where he knows, New Jersey. Mm-hmm. And in New Jersey, it's much more serious than I'm even leading on to. In New Jersey, particularly in Newark, New Jersey, if you run for local East Ward councilman, and you're Brazilian, you're not getting elected. Plain and simple.
Or dog catcher.
And here's the reason. Here's the reason.
Look at Dr. Oz.
He's
not even.
Here's the reason. The reason you're not getting elected is because it's the East Ward. And the East Ward electorate is dominated by Brazilians and the Portuguese. They speak the same language. They fight like cats and dogs over everything. Every house and every apartment in that house, everybody knows if that family is Portuguese, Brazilian, or one of the mixed ones. And they fight over everything. They don't go to each other's grocery stores. They don't, right? Now, of course they do, but they don't act like they do, right? And they definitely don't vote for each other. And so the reason the councilman's always going to be Portuguese is because the Portuguese are going to make sure the councilman's also Portuguese. And if it ever switches, there's going to be a war in the streets that makes it switch. And it's going to be because the demographics of the neighborhood are changing. And it's a battle. It's tooth and nails. Well, and so it's stuff like a lot of these people were uncomfortable voting for Joe Biden because he's Catholic. I'm telling you real people. So you might be in a different reality to what I'm telling you. But here's the other thing is I'm talking about stuff where there's major politics. I'm talking a stone's throw from New York City. So we're talking a lot of money in every election. And that means party infrastructure. So you don't really even get to decide if you're on the ballot, and you don't really even get to decide if you get to be forward with your message the way you want to be. It's actual party bosses who get to decide whether or not you've even kissed the ring sufficiently that they should even invest in you. And they're not going to invest a lot of people unless you do the same song and dance, because if you don't, they're just going to fund somebody who's going to beat you because they can outspend you. And they're going to make sure that person does what they tell them to do. And when they tell that person, we expect you to be somewhere on Sunday morning, what they mean is that fundraising, our goodwill, and your place on the ballot is depending on you doing what we tell you to do. And a lot of what it is the whole power structure is based on the goodwill of these churches. Like you said, you need to go up in these churches with their message, and the party don't care about your beliefs. The party cares about keeping control of the seat. And all the party wants to do is find somebody who's going to keep control of the seat by doing what they want to do. And so they need to send you to the churches, because the church circuit is the whole game, especially when you're dealing with communities of color. I'm serious.
Mm-hmm. No, I'm just laughing because you use that term.
And so
you're winning at terms today.
Yeah, that's what they really consider it. And they got to send you to all of them, and they're going to send you to the interfaith thing and all the schools and blah, blah, blah. And you got to be able to put your cross pin on, and Sunday morning walk in there with your little Christian lady. Now, they might even tell you, you could be a non-believer. You could even, say, I'm never going to talk about it, I don't want to talk about it, that's my off, they'll say fine. But they literally going to look at you and say, you still got to be somewhere on Sunday morning. That could be I'm going to all the churches and I'm different, right? Or I just show up for luncheons, or I just go to softball with the They just need you to do something that make it look like, again, when we send you on the church circuit, then people could put the stamp of approval on you. So
are you saying I need to show my good works before men?
Basically, that's 100%. 100%. You need to be ready to pray in public, and that's what's gonna happen. They want because what's gonna happen is they pastor's gonna lay hands on you. Oh, we want to thank brother, my one black friend, for coming and telling us about his youth program in hospital. Come on, brother, we gotta lay hands on you.
I have enough respect for the faithful, regardless of their religion, not to utter a prayer, because if there is a God in heaven, he's first of all, he'll pick up the phone because it's me. But secondly, I think that would be very insulting to those people if I were to do that, and could be easily considered by many of them, had they watched this program and seen my views, that I'm mocking them. If I hadn't had
I consider it openly mocking them. And you know what? Everybody's doing it. Like, I watch these people do it. It's terrible.
I mean, even for me, someone like Kenneth Copeland is mocking them and getting away with it. It isn't laughing all the way to the bank.
I just want to bring this out. It's not even just the politicians, by the way. It's not even just the politicians. It's not just the politicians. It isn't just the people that want to be charismatic. It's a lot of the people. A lot of the doctors, the lawyers, they are not religious people. They don't ever pray. They like CeCe Winans once in a while, right? And they're in church on Sunday, mostly for the music. They're usually somewhere. And matter of fact, it's to the point where in New Jersey, most of the pastors that are serious, the pastors ain't even really that religious. The church is a political platform. And that's why the church circuit's so important, because the ministers themselves are political figures. They're considered minor party bosses. They know all the leaders and all the community organizations. So they're the centerpieces to all of the stuff you need to actually do in the community. That's why you got to get with the ecumenical council, because that's the gateway to all of the nonprofits and all the charitable groups and all the cool educational initiatives and all the blue ribbon committees. It's the ministers that control all that stuff. So that's just... It's the name of the game. And so it's the people who want to do business, the people who want them contracts, it's the people who want, to get the catering deals. They're all in church, regardless of how they feel about what's being preached. All of them. And it's just the way it is. And that's what I'm saying. That's why this stuff is so real to me, because I already see the world where it's just all about the power. It's just look, there's power in the world. It's controlled by other people. Then people have expectations of you. You've got to look like you've got to pass. You've got to be passing, right? Like I said, my one best friend, you ain't got to be a Christian. They're going to tell you ain't got to be a Christian. You just got to be somewhere on Sunday. That's why we put it that way.
Play the game.
Yeah, that's why we put it that way. We're not saying you got to, we saying you got to be somewhere on Sunday, man.
Well, I couldn't help but to be honest. And
I feel you. I appreciate that. I'm the same way. But that's why I don't do it, and that's why I play the game behind the scenes, because I don't want to. But I've always realized, and I'm with you. I think I could do it, but I'm saying I'm gonna do it on my own, and then I'm gonna do it on a different level, right? I'm gonna do it because I actually know the politicians. I'm actually calling Corey. Hey, Corey. And then Corey gonna be like, Jay's my guy. So Jay, what are you doing? Right, Corey? No, if I call Corey and say, Corey, I'm running for mayor in Newark, I expect everything. And I don't care who's running. I don't care. I literally couldn't care less what the political structure in New Jersey looks like. If I call Corey Brook and say, Corey, I'm running, right now, I wouldn't really do that. He knows I wouldn't really do that. I'd really call and say, Corey, I'm running for freeholder of Essex County. And then I'm gonna run for your at-large seat. And then I'm gonna run for mayor. But you know what time it is, right? Okay, thanks, call, see you soon. Like that's, and if I get anything else, I'm gonna whip his ass. And he don't want that. I know too much.
Well, I want to address
But
a few.
but no, really, that's the way I would go, right? I would go through. I know the power players. I know the actual party bosses. I'm gonna go to them. They're gonna put me on my service record and being Al Bundy's son and the scientist and all of that stuff. But even then, I'm gonna be on that church circuit.
Well, look, if that's where people are meeting and it's easy to go there and get whatever my platform is going to be to communicate that to them, and if it resonates with you or most of it does, and you find that less of it does in my opponents, you probably should vote for me. You do have a free choice. Let's make sure you're registered so your vote counts, and make sure you get your friends registered, that sort of thing.
Absolutely. That's a lot of what they're doing too. Sure.
I want to address what 0125AR has said. I clearly have his support for president. Thank you. Again, an anecdote from my past. So in high school as a junior, I was president of Latin Club. Not like Spanish, but literally Latin, the language, like Roman language, former Roman language. And so we had a really amazing year. The end of the school year came and the teacher said, it's time for re-elections. Who would like to be president? And the hands of the people who were in my cabinet shot up. I was amazed. I looked around the room like this, and then I raised my hand. And they all put their hands down. High school is not politics. I won by only one vote. There was only one vote. It was mine, and I won.
So wait, you won? What was this?
The election to be re-elected president of Latin Club.
Oh, you won with one vote? Yeah, I ran for...
I won with one vote because nobody else... The teacher said, well, I guess that's decided, because no one wanted to run against me.
Yeah, we had a...
life's not that way. Just, one club in high school.
We had a... What happened, I think? All right, so we were having a discussion one day in class about who was going to run for student council and stuff. And you have two conversations, because one, you have the senior class officers, president, vice president, treasurer, secretary, and then you have the school, offices. And so everybody kind of goes in their thing. And so I decided, my friend Andrea said she was going to she wanted to run for president of the school. So eventually he's decided I was going to run for vice president with her. And that was it. I ran unopposed. And so I remember when everybody got up and gave their speeches, like just nobody was going to run against me. It just wasn't going to even be a thing. So I gave the funniest speech because I didn't have anybody to run against. So
yeah, you could do some stand up.
Yeah, and so we had this kind of really older veteran named Ralph. He was, I guess, technically part of our janitorial maintenance staff or support team. I don't really know. We just kind of hired him to hang around and be nice to kids, I think. And so I talked to him and asked if I could talk about him. He just said, yeah, of course, Jay, no problem, man. And so, so I started all serious. I was like, as I thought about how to commemorate this momentous occasion and how to lead. So I let him do this whole serious blase and the flavonoids about the serious of the situation. I said, I did what anyone would do. I asked Ralph, and the whole room just exploded in laughter, right? And so that's what everybody remembers, that I made it about Ralph, sort of our little mascot guy, right? We all got a great laugh and had a good laugh at it, but it was fun.
And to 0125AR's point, I think they do let you pick the holy book you want to swear on. Weirdly, it's been the Bible a lot, a book which basically warns you about what you're swearing.
The Book of Myron.
The Book of Myron?
Yeah, made by YouTube Punk. This is gorgeous.
I would easily pick, and it's not a holy book, I would easily pick The Sneetches and Other Stories by Dr. Seuss. In that book, my favorite story is the one about the Sneetches. And some Sneetches had stars on their bellies, others did not. And the ones who didn't have stars...
Oh, yeah, we watched this. Yeah, this is great.
Okay, so I felt that when I read that story as a child, it really meant a lot to me because, you know, I saw all the ways that I was, you know, different from my friends, the things I was struggling with medically and stuff like that. And I saw how I wanted to be like other people, but it didn't necessarily make them special that they were, this is going to sound harsh. It didn't make them special that they were average. They weren't luckier in some senses because they were quote unquote average and didn't have to wrestle with the same things that I had to. My own uniqueness has a value, and I'm only unique in a few ways. And I think that's true of most people. You're only unique in a few ways. Mostly you are like everyone else. So that book has been very formative, even into my adult life and how I treat others. The beauty of that, politically speaking, is that my ears want to be open for everyone who has something to say. And maybe they can help me fulfill needs and desires and reform society in a way that makes it better to be here in the U.S. Because when all these people on Jordan Klepper's videos or something are saying America is the greatest nation ever, they have no idea how other countries outshine us in so many ways. And yet we have every resource they do to be just as good as they are. And we're failing there.
Yeah.
So for me, I'd love to see us succeed and not blindly have people just think we've achieved greatness. No, we've achieved mediocrity and labeled it greatness. That's what's really happened.
That's generous.
Go ahead,
mediocrity. No, I was just gonna say that the thing is, it's a really dirty game. So for me, I always love politics, and I think here's the problem. I think a lot of the best people that should go into public service are public servants, and they're there. You know, I've known a lot of these people. I had the privilege of working alongside of them. Wholly boring people, really people who are excited to do dirty work. We're excited to do the dirty work and push the paper, and we know that that's what it means. You're there at City Hall, 8 o'clock in the morning, meetings all day, projects. It's nonstop. The issue is the game is all about the worst part of it. My least favorite part about the social sphere is campaigns. Mm-hmm. I am about that life. Yeah, y'all know me. If y'all really know what I'm about, it's because the reason I love Cory Booker is because he gave me the chance to help him run the fucking city. I'm about being in City Hall, we in office, it's our administration. We about to kick all the ass, take the names. Yep, get time for the roll call. It's time to pass the budget. Yeah, it's millions and millions and billions going to all this stuff we done promised our people. And it's really going down. It's going to be a lot of work, but we're here to do it. What sucks is this is a hard gateway system. There's a gatekeeper. It's called the election. The whole game's about the election. It don't matter how great of a public servant you are. It don't matter how politically sharp you are, how great your policies are, how many babies you kiss, how many women you make cry during your speeches. None of it matter unless it translates to you winning at the ballot. And it's a nasty game because, like I said, it's a zero-sum game. So I'll give you a story. We ran Augusto Amador, long-term councilman. Don't really think too highly of the dude anymore, but he's a good guy. He's a decent professional councilman. You know, he's a guy you keep on your team as long as he's not in the way, right? And so, you know, when it came time for, I guess this is Cory's second administration. You know, we got to keep all our council people on as well. And this up and coming he's not really a dentist, but he owns a bunch of like dental shops and stores in the East Ward. Decides he's going to run for councilman, and you know, we're all going. We wouldn't bother because you know, the guy that we're running with, Augie Amador, is on Team Booker, right? So, but this guy's got it figured out. He's got a lot more money than Augie, right? So he's a millionaire. He's got his big shops. He's always walking around town. Everybody knows he's a cokehead and he's a joke. But his thing is he's got a lot of money.
The opinions of Pocket Locker do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the Hop program.
Yeah, they don't. But I'm just telling you, that's what everybody thinks. Everybody knows the guy's a joke, right? But he's got a lot of money and he's willing to spend it. Now, we're laughing because he's spending his own money. And you know what we're going to do? Make him spend it. But here's the difference. We're on Team Booker. So we're spending the war chest. And you know who's funding our war chest? Cory Booker. So you know what we're not about to do anytime soon? Run out of money. You know what the best part is? Ain't none of it our money. That's the best part about Cory Booker. Ain't nobody got their personal income, fortunes, they lunch money, and none of that involved in none of this. We got a Weld Oil Corporation running this. And you could spend $1 million. Now, what it does for us is it makes us annoyed, right? Because what literally amounts to is we have to spend more money in the East Ward than we would in any other type of election. And now we've got to spend more money in the East Ward than almost any other ward because we got this guy who's willing to go broke trying to extract his personal grudge against the councilman here, right? But it's just a matter of business. And so then as a matter of business, we're just spending more money. You got to remember, Cory got more money in the war chest than he can spend in these elections. So it's not an issue for us. It's just, we just got to write these bigger checks now. And so he wants to buy this big thing for his headquarters. Fine, we just build a bigger one across the street. Oh, what? Oh, he hired this company. He spent, how much he spend? He spent $200,000 just for materials. All right, it's cool. Let's spend $500,000 on materials real quick. What did he do? He spent $1 million on legal fees. Can we get $2 million worth of legal fees set aside, please? Thank you. Right? And so that's the game to us. We're literally seeing how much of his money we can make him spend. We know he's not going to win this election. We know this already. We got the districts locked down. We got all the ward captains. We're literally just trying to break him as part of the game. We're trying to teach him a lesson. You don't come at us. And we don't care how much money you think you got. Right?
Maybe you shouldn't publicize all this.
No, people know. I ain't telling nobody nothing they don't know. He should have known this already. People should know these things. We telling them. We know. People that know. We got the state on lock. Don't try it. Don't try it. You can't buy it. That's the new motto. But I'm telling people it's levels to this stuff, and so that's what happens, right? It's not just. This is what I'm seeing about Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders is great. Hillary Clinton's great. These are people who've shown you I could do it my own way. I could do it with the right policies, but they had to compensate for it. Hillary Clinton made it an innovation to get away from the big corporate funding and to say, I want small donations from mom and pop. But what she had to do was build a sufficient machinery, right, to compensate to get the massive amounts of small-scale donations needed to compensate for missing out on those big checks. Bernie Sanders has to do very much the same thing. He's got to go into those liberal pockets, but he's also got to find those really liberal, heavyweight corporate players so that he can keep his stranglehold on the state of Vermont. That makes him the immovable Bernie Sanders who can afford to lose for president as much as he wants until the day he dies, because he just is Bernie Sanders and you ain't going to be doing nothing about him. So I'm not saying you can't do it your way or do it another way, but that's what you're up against. And so you're going to have to find your own way to either get in with that, like, oh, they love us, they realize that we're great for the team, we just got to make sure we do business with these people, right? Or we're going to have to really do it our way, which I think is what you're about now, because what you're doing now is you get yourself an audience on YouTube, you get a subscriber base, it happens to be national or international, you happen to be able to start moving things at a local level, right? So you can build it like this, and then by the time you move at the next level, well, you got friends and fans everywhere, and now you're like, well, I got the numbers. You know, that's what, because it really comes down to numbers, right? It comes to, we break down the districts. We know exactly how many votes it takes to win each district. So when we're doing all this canvassing, and I'll show you how it ties even to the election day work. When we're doing all this canvassing, we're getting vote commitments. We're letting people know. My one black friend lives at 123 Anheuser-Busch Lane. All right, and then we check. I know when I knocked on your door, I know you were Democratic voted. When I knocked on your door, I knew you voted in the last election. I knew who you voted for. I knew where I knew what you voted on. I know all your business, bro, right? And so when I knock on your door, I'm really giving you the thing, and I'm getting you to say to my face, Jay, you can count on my vote. Trust me, I'm on Team Booker. All right, but I need your vote on all 9 of my council seats. I got you on all 9 council seats. Can you go up there, right? And I give you the ticket, and it tells you all the tickets, right? It tells you every possession. You go, all right, now, because now what happens is, if it comes out of that district that we know that we won, and they say we lost that district, we're challenging it. The reason is because we know exactly how many votes we expect to have in every district. And then we have our challengers at the poll. So when you come to the poll, I've got a sheet. I've done this too. You got to be there like 5:30 in the morning. My one black friend comes to vote at 7:30 in the morning before he goes to work. I'm there. Hi, I'm one black friend. Here's my ID. I take your ID. I make sure, okay, that's my one black friend. 123 Anheuser-Busch Lane, blah, blah, blah. And I'm sitting there, hired by team, and I check you off. And so I know you voted, I know you showed up, I know that was you, and I know I expect your votes. And then we count that, and that's how we discover real voter fraud when it happens. Go ahead.
Speaking of Anheuser-Busch Lane, I have to excuse myself.
Yeah.
I'll be right back.
Appreciate you. But I'm just trying to give y'all a little bit of sort of how the sausage is made of politics. But yeah, that's why that canvassing operation is so important. It's so that we know and that we are not guessing as far as what our numbers are on election day. That's sort of, the idea a lot of people have. We're going to run a strong race and, we're counting on the people to show up, and you don't really have any idea how many votes you have. That's a fairy tale. For the most part, we've got to have a very strong handle on that information already ahead of time. So already normally where you're going to win your votes, where you expect to lose, which districts are on the knife edge, and then you actually concentrate your final effort, what we call the get out the vote. You guys hear that term thrown around a lot, and you'll hear it a lot thrown around in midterms as the days get close. Your get out the vote operation is meant to do that. Number one, it's meant to have sufficient effort in your strong districts to make sure that you do in fact have your people show up so that your numbers are good. There's always ways that we calculate for, how many people are expected to vote. Is it going to be a low turnout or a high turnout election? That usually depends on whether or not it correlates to a presidential election. How heavily contested is that presidential election? That determines a lot of the turnout down ballot. Other little things, is there a significant governor's race? Is there a contested midterm over, say, a Senate seat or something like that that's going to give you increased turnout? Is it going to rain? Is it going to be a bad weather day? That's going to decrease your turnout, just the reality of the situation. And so the other thing you're doing in your get out the vote is you're taking those knife edge districts and you're concentrating all your sort of election day efforts there, because those are the districts that are still in the balance, the swing states, if you will. So they're the swing states on the local level. They're swing districts. You're not sure if they're going to go to you or the other side. And so, you're putting in some effort there because you want to pull through as many of those as you can. And then that's it. And then you maybe hope for a couple of unexpected wins. Maybe you pick up a district that you thought your opponent was going to win, but that happens quite rarely, to be honest. Matter of fact, I was considered a hero once for bringing home a district that we were supposed to win and losing one by a small margin where everybody thought we were going to get devastated. So it just, overall picture was considered great work. But yeah, sorry, I was just kind of filling time. But yeah, I just kind of wanted to tie some of that into it. But yeah, it's deep, this whole, if people, we live in a world with a very moneyed economy, right? We put the economy over everything. And so it's unfortunate that means these economic relationships are relationships, essentially, right? You hear people say you vote with your dollar, right? And I had another thought. So here was the question of the day, which is, would you join a secular commerce club? And I just think that's what the world should be. Just the friends and family discount goes to friends and family, and just leave it at that.
Well, you have affiliate links for things like Amazon. Like one day Hot Program may get there where we have a few 100,000 viewers, and we're sending them to our affiliate links.
Right.
To if you have to patronize
Somewhere.
Home Depot, use our Home Depot affiliate link, or Lowe's, or
right.
We see that YouTube is really a phenomenon, and how many people it's set free financially.
Yes, true.
From the toil of the office.
I mean, they're now wholly dependent on YouTube, but yes.
I'm working on a project that's taken 4 days. It's like, literally, I'll have like 45 hours into this one project, which I could have spitballed in 3 hours. But whatever. They said they want it super detailed, so they're getting it super detailed, and it costs a heck of a lot more money for that. But I mentioned it on here. If I end up moving back to Indiana and I could make my living fixing up cars and raffling them off, or even selling copies or whatever I made, or the original what I made, I'd love to do it. If I could get hundreds of thousands of dollars a year in YouTube, in affiliate links from the different companies that I use and products and stuff that I would use anyway, right? I don't necessarily feel I want to do a lot of advertising or product placement. I think that I kind of want to shy away from that because I want what I want. That's just me. But if some wheel company said, and I've suggested this to those people who do Photoshops of cars and digital tuning, I said, get with a company that makes wheels and have them sponsor you, and you just use their line of wheels. But these guys, they make plenty of money, and they're saying, I just kind of want to do what I want to do.
I
respect
That's
that
great.
hugely.
Me too. Yeah.
But for wheels,
I'm about the product placement because I like the idea of shooting commercials, and that's a big part of that's a big thing wrestlers want to do. They want to strike out and do commercials and get out there, get into Hollywood acting. I gotta go with the whole pro wrestler story arc. Gotta get out there. Gotta do the Rock, guys. I gotta become an A-list Hollywood guy. Maybe
Have
they'll
you
give
seen
me the next.
Fighting with My Family?
I haven't, but you know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking I'll start small with like the next Scorpion King or something like that. I'll start with the D-list kind of hero stories. I'll get real built, and I'll start from there. I'll do like a Kindergarten Cop type of buddy movie, little Tooth Fairy remix or something like that, and then work my way up to the Fast and the Furious. They can't. Those guys are doing it strong right now, but Fast and the Furious 27, they might need a new crew. It might be time to mix it up by then.
Can you smell what the lock is booking?
Can you smell what the lock is booking? I love it.
Yeah. Yeah. But I wish you great success, as Borat would say.
Yeah, they got to make your own album. Yeah.
Well, yeah, you could. You already play the drums, so if you're playing country, I can do the singing for you. Or jazz, I could do the singing for that. Or opera, I could do the singing for that.
Now, see, that's the way to get
blues,
elected.
I could do the singing for that.
That's a way to get elected. If where you're at on Sundays is, I've got a gig at the Standard Cafe, and you're just singing.
Karaoke on. See me Saturday and Sunday. I'm at karaoke.
Yeah, karaoke. And then you're
Saturday or Friday karaoke. Sunday I'll probably be cutting my grass.
You're working the church circuit and going door to door. Going door to door on Wednesday night or whatever. This could work.
I want the church people to enjoy.
See, you know why
church.
I love Bill Clinton? Because he played the sax in Arsenio Hall. See, I'm just telling y'all gotta get real about this politics thing, man. Because I was a kid, I didn't know a lot, right? You're like, oh, I think he's cool. He was hanging out with Arsenio. He was jamming on the saxophone. I was like, I like that guy. I'll vote for him.
Hey, he got us out of debt. As a nation, he did that.
Yeah, most of us would bring him back if we could. But he's looking a little old these days. Bill is finally... Time catches all of us eventually.
Well, he had a pretty good run, I'd say.
Yeah.
He did okay. He did okay.
But he not looking like he ready to mount a comeback anytime soon.
Well, I think a lot of these guys, like Obama and Clinton and the Bushes, I think when they're out, they get really excited about being out.
Yeah, they're done.
Because if you are the president of a country, typically you're limited in what you can do.
Right.
Because they have to keep you safe. There are people who would hurt or harm you. Yeah. And now you got 9 secrets. It's probably an underestimate. You probably have 100 secret servants at your beck and call all the time. Right. But they're telling you what you can and cannot do. You tell them what you want to do, and they say, well, that's not feasible. Right. Or, yeah, we absolutely can do that. Or we have to clear that area first.
Right. It's going to take 2 hours. Yeah.
Yeah. So like me, if I have small children and I want to teach them how to ride a bike, are we doing that on the grounds of the White House? Or do we literally have to fly 140 people somewhere else so I can play with my kid?
Right. Yeah, it's wild.
It may be that.
Yeah.
And if anybody complains, I could say, don't worry, I don't play golf. Think of the savings.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what Trump did. He took all them people to play golf instead of sitting there at the White House, right? That's what he was. He was like, fly back to the White House.
Well, he's lining his own pockets. He's going to his golf course.
Going to his golf
course. He's lining his own pockets.
Charging the government.
He's not a stupid man, but he's not as smart as people think he is. He's not a stupid man. He knows how to do well for himself. And I think that's the thing, is he was so good at that he didn't really know how to do well for others. And that's an important distinction. Are we moving backward together or forward together? It's really more of a dance.
AR said the affiliate link code is God ain't real to get your 50% discount, a discount worth risking your soul. I'm with the 8, but see, that's what I kind of mean. Like, it just becomes crazy because if it became cool to give the Christian discount, then that's like an atheist tax right there. It's just all weird to me. And I'll kind of close with this because I gotta be at church at 6. But I'll turn it back to you. But I relate it to a romantic situation I found myself in, which is where I think a lot of Christians are, including the women in my family. My own mother would never date a man like me. It does not matter how great of a man I am, because I am not serious about my relationship with the Lord. And since that is a prerequisite for a relationship with a woman like her, I am not worthy of that. The fact that she gave birth to me is wholly irrelevant to the situation. Now, I have found myself, having affections for a woman similarly minded to my mother. And this woman was literally my best friend. I talked to her all day, every day. We were on the same worship team. We played in the same band on Sunday mornings. Even if she wasn't playing, she came out and hung out with me on Thursday nights and kicked it with me. We went on dates usually 2 or 3 times a week. We spent all day texting each other. Everybody in our church thought that we were dating. We sat next to each other in church every Sunday. But she would not say she was dating me. She would not call me her guy. She would not do any of that. And anytime I tried to, she shut it down. And it was because I wasn't a Christian. Now, it did not matter how Christ-like I lived or how much she admired me and how much everyone in her family, all of them very serious Christians, already thought that we were in love with each other, had already made their peace with that, and were very excited for her. Like, I hung out with her sisters, right? It's like, oh, that's Christy's guy, Jay. Yeah, he's great. He's wonderful. He plays drums at our church. He's awesome. They go to they're in the same Bible study group. I would literally joke to her, I go to your church more than you do. Right? And she'd laugh, oh, that's so right, you do. Still won't date you, though, because you're right? So this idea of, if your economy is to only do business with each other, that means y'all don't do business with me. I'm very serious, because this is how they treat relationship transactions. So, and I'm sorry, how equal are we really if you've already predetermined no matter how great I am, I don't deserve love. I'm not worthy of a certain type of love, right? And so then there's other guys who by whatever metric are not the closest guy to you in your life right now, because everybody knows that's me, and you'd rather date one of them as long as they tell you they believe in Jesus. And it just gets to be absurd.
Well, again, you didn't know me then, because I would have just given you scriptures to throw at her.
Like the proxy salvation, yeah.
Yes. So, look, there's always that she's probably concerned about being unequally yoked.
Sure, absolutely.
Right?
Yeah, of course.
And how would she be seen by her congregation if that was the case?
Absolutely.
Wait, you're a Christian and you're dating an atheist? I don't believe for one second that if the Christian God were actually real, and I mean actually real, like the table my computer sits on, that he would not want someone to be loved and cared for in a very beautiful and dutiful way.
Right.
By someone who didn't believe that he was real. I don't even know why he would want to, other than that there'd be no dissent in the household about whether or not there is a God. I don't even know why he would prefer that you'd be Christian and dating her. If you give her all the freedoms to enjoy, like Pine Creek does, and he and his wife, I there's so many wonderful things. When he talked about her, I really enjoyed that conversation that he has about her, where she's free to have her beliefs, and so are the kids, and so is he.
Right.
You're allowed to be an individual, and that's not thrown away because someone shares a different opinion on how the universe came into being and whether or not this guy Jesus was totally legit. It doesn't hinge on that, and it doesn't need to. To me, that is a beautiful thing. So for this woman, she's the wrong woman because she's not. She's already not meeting you where
you're at. Yeah.
Exactly.
And it's just it's really right, and it's sad too because it's only because of literally my most sincerest conviction that I genuinely. It's like I genuinely just don't believe this, right? And so that's. Like I totally agree with you. I'm just saying it's sad. It was sad, but yeah, I want to give you a chance to wrap because I gotta make sure I get.
Okay, yeah, you gotta bail. Well, I just want to say I'm going to disagree that it's sad. I think it's fortunate because you can find someone who isn't that way.
That's true.
And rather than being literally unequally yoked because she's always judging you. Sure. You don't have to deal with that.
Absolutely.
You don't have to deal once you have a child come into the world. Well, how are we going to raise this kid? I'm lucky. I've already had this conversation with my fiance. We're going to let them figure it out. And I told her I'll take them to every church, synagogue, mosque, wherever they want to go.
Wherever they want to go, right?
Come on. And they might ask me, why are you so enthusiastic about this? You're an atheist. And I can say to them, I'm supporting your enthusiasm because I see you thinking critically, and you're always going to be able to use that, and that is exciting for me.
Okay. Yeah, it is. All right, yeah, let me wrap up too, because I got to switch over the device, and it's giving me a little bit of an issue here. So I want to thank my one black friend for joining me. Yeah, we're wrapping up. Mike, let's link up, though, from Answers in Atheism. We definitely need to wrap. I sent you an email, and I'm sure we'll be in touch. All right, go ahead, hit up Richard Madsen, and I will see you guys later. So I'm live on Pocket Locker 86. I'm getting ready to do Church with Sacred Death, and then after that we'll do the Atheist Crew Book Club, Chapter 17, and Christopher Hitchens' God is Not Great, followed by an after party. So if you head over to Pocket Locker 86, I will be live the rest of the day until we head over to the casino overnight. But yeah, it's time for me to get to church. And anything else, my one black friend?
Yeah, thanks to everyone for tuning in today, and thanks for James Apperson joining us He's probably doing a live stream right now too.
Yeah.
But anyway, I wish success and health to you all for sure. And thanks for tuning in.
Yeah. As always, guys, be good to yourselves.
And each other.
All right. We'll see you next time.
See you next time. All right, Pocket Locker.